Gather round me, children, I'll tell you the news. Don't worry about the names or dates, you already know it's true. The doctor hates your baby, the prime minister's a ghost, and all them folks are sailing here 'cause they're in love with boats. Superfoods can save us from all our evil sin. JFK and Elvis own a bar in Wisconsin. Vaccinations were created by the CIA to steal votes from Bernie Sanders and turn your babies gay. So click the link you think you like and get tooled for a fight against those lefty fascist communists who are leaning too far right.
Hi and welcome to Not Another Fake Newscast. I'm Paul.
And I'm Jack, sense of numbing inevitability. No, Jerry. It's Jerry. I fucking need to get that right.
Aye. Cool, that was a brutal intro. So, welcome to episode 18 of episode 18 of real episodes and episode, 24-ish of episodes that we don't number properly.
Yeah, we like to give you a bit of fake news embedded in the title of the show, just to keep the theme going. Also,
I like to fuck up people's iTunes playlists absolutely royally.
We are Not Another Fake Newscast, and we are available on www.notanotherfakenewscast.com
and Tinder.
Speak for yourself.
No, there's various places we're available.
But we come as a pair, quite literally.
Yep, it's an affliction. This started to go well at all.
So we're available on the website, and we're also available on Twitter and Facebook.
Yeah, that's at PGMcast. That's PGMcast.
We are also available at Patreon if you want to donate to the show and help us to do cool things like improve our sound equipment, etc.
You get free content most of the time, which is generally stuff that we can never broadcast to another human being, which is always good.
If you come in at certain tiers, you get stuff early, and you get access to our Patreon only Discord.
That's what I was going to say. You get decent chat. We're also on Discord anyway. If you want to hit us up for some sweet Discord chat, you're more than welcome to join us. I'm trying to think if we're on any other social media. Not really.
We're on YouTube as well, yeah.
Oh yeah, we're on YouTube, but very few people ever go there.
31 followers we have on YouTube now.
It's kind of strange because
I don't know why anybody would listen to a podcast on YouTube, but 31 people would disagree with me.
I'm glad that they do, and to those 31 people that listen right
Thank
now,
you.
Thank you. We were actually looking.
I also have to say that somebody actually wrote first on one of our videos recently. I was like, dude, you're the first person probably to comment on any of our videos.
Only would have been equally. No, actually, someone commented the other day and asked us what the theme tune was, and I've not actually got round to replying to it.
No, I did.
Oh, good.
I sent him a link.
That makes me a much less terrible human being because I had read it.
No, it doesn't.
Damn.
So this is our monthly roundup for this month. We are brought to you by Holzkern, who make amazingly cool watches from sustainable type materials, wood and stuff like that.
Sustainable type materials, quality. The watches are great. I know we mention this now every episode and it maybe start getting a bit annoying, but I can't even get to stress. This watch is bagging you. I love this watch.
So if you go to www.holzkern.com, if you're English speaking, then just put in a /EN and use the discount code NAFNC15 for 15% off.
We actually have a couple of other sponsors coming your way soon. Some good ones, some fun ones.
Yeah. We're excited about that.
So we're looking forward to that.
Speak to you about that actually. So cool. All good. So it's the monthly roundup. We're going to be talking to you about all things that happened in
things round
in July.
Balls.
We're going to talk to you. We're definitely going to be talking balls. That's our
tires.
Modus operandi.
just naming my favourite round things.
So the first kind of thing, some of you may have been aware of Love Island. Kind of a big deal for some people. Kind of a really hated fucking program for quite a lot of you too, I imagine.
Almost like in this room.
Almost, well, like, okay, right. So for my Paul gives me shit, right? Because I watch Love Island now. it's the first time that I've watched Love Island. It's not something that I've usually been into, and
That makes it better.
I've been for the most part in the hating camp, been one of these people who sort of sit for sidelines going, "Yous are all fucking knob ends watching Love Island. It's pish." However, the first day that I got back from offshore a couple of trips ago was like, I guess it was the first night it was on, and my wife was watching it, and she was watching it the next night, and I was in the room with her, and I just kind of ended up getting sucked in. And to be honest with you, given the nature of what we're doing with this, I find myself constantly like reading non-fiction, reading news, reading like really serious books and like research papers on fake news and stuff like that, and it's all very serious and fucking tedious at times, and depressing also, you know, because the world seems to be quite depressing. So I guess it was just kind of like chewing gum for my eyes.
Just listen to my dad wrote a porno, no such thing, but I got it in.
No, but I do that stuff as well. Like, but yeah, I don't know. I quite enjoyed it. It was all right.
It
was like take your brain out and fucking sit and watch it. You know what I mean?
Behind the curtain here, do you know how much you enjoyed it? I was phoning him to talk about our fucking podcast, and he was on an oil rig in the middle of the fucking Irish Sea, and he told me that he couldn't speak to me until after Love Island. That happened.
I didn't say that I couldn't. I just said that I would prefer not to.
Aye. Exactly.
Anyway.
So, yeah.
So now that we've got that out of the way, and completely ruined my street cred.
Street cred, it's okay. It wasn't great.
But you know what? It's easy to be a hater. It's easy to be a hater. I'm fucking delighted that Jackie and Danny Dyer are going to make sweet, sweet love with each other.
Actual Danny Dyer?
It's his daughter, who's also called Danny Dyer. She won it. So Danny Dyer has a daughter, Danny Dyer from EastEnders, and his daughter
Danny Dyer
is called Danny.
Britain's roughest badgers. Like, he's got a daughter that he called Danny Dyer.
Yes.
He's an absolute cunt.
It's such a Danny Dyer thing to do.
Yeah, it is.
But he did call David Cameron a twat, so, you know, swings and roundabouts, eh?
So she was in it.
She won it.
She won it.
Mm-hmm.
Does she need money? Is Danny Dyer skint?
Well, I mean,
why is she on it?
First of all,
what's going on?
First of all, like, you know, she wants to make her own money, I presume.
So she took a legitimate path.
Well,
see how we segued that?
Yeah, pretty good, right? Good. So some of you may be aware of there's been a bit of a debate this summer about sort of Love Island versus Oxbridge as a stat
versus reality.
And they were sort of talking about how, you know, the amount of applications for Love Island compared with the amount of applications for Oxbridge didn't really compare that favourably. So there was various people tweeting numbers. Simon Thomas on Twitter said that almost 4 times as many people, 150,000, applied to appear on Love Island this year as applied to get into Oxbridge, which was 40,000. Make of that what you will. And there's certainly a lot of evidence.
There's much more chance for absolute grade A Muppets to be able to get on fucking Love Island than there is get into Oxbridge.
But there's also evidence that it pays a lot better as well. There was analysts at Frontier Economics Consultancy estimated that a Love Island contestant who makes it through the final could expect to earn £2.3 million over the next 5 years. This compared with much more modest returns for Oxbridge graduates who over their lifetime will earn on average only £815,000 more than pupils who leave education after A-levels. So, I mean, you could argue that that says something quite significant about our society.
I mean, I can't... So we know, before we go any further, like, because I've not seen what you're reading at the present moment, like, I've not seen that bit. Right? To me, that piece of information doesn't seem correct, as in, the reason it doesn't seem correct is surely the chances that you win in... So, you being the highest, so because there's a whole load of statistics that are not getting thrown out there, the amount of people that have applied, then the amount of people that get picked for the application, then the amount of people that then go through the show, because I believe people come on and off or whatever, or some shit like that, and then it gets to the end, and then you have to
people get off quite a lot on it,
and then you have to be the last person. I knew you were going to say I got anyway, then you have to be the most successful person out of all of them to do it. Now, if you then start applying those same metrics to the amount of people that apply to Oxford, I would imagine that, because it's just like, oh, well, people with a degree, but that's not people with a degree. We're talking about the winner. So the person with
Well, it said people who make it to the final.
yeah, but no. But what I mean is
There was 4 couples in the first. There's 8 people out of 150,000. So I'm sure if you took the top 0.01% of
Oxbridge, they're probably making more than £2.5 million a year. That's what I mean.
over
Like,
5 years.
Oh yeah, they're probably making more than that in a year though. You know what I mean?
I mean, I guess it depends because it'll depend
well,
on.
do you think Bojo or David Cameron that finished in that top percentage? Because
But they're already rich. You know what I mean? Like the vast majority of the amount of money that they're going to
So
make is from investments, which
so is Danny Dyer's daughter.
I don't know how. I mean, how much do you get paid for being on EastEnders? I don't know.
I know, but Danny Dyer's done like movies and like I said, World's Angriest
No, what else
Golfers.
he's done? A lot of fucking coke. So he might not. He might
No,
not have
he's
it all
done-
left.
Been on TV talking like a hard man, but actually have been to stage school. He's done that as well.
Oh no! Apparently that's not true.
Wait, he doesn't talk like a hard man.
No, I think he did go to stage school. I think I might have said that in a previous podcast
I think
as well.
he did.
It's fake news. Hashtag fake news. Fake as fuck news. I apologise because we looked at. I think Goat Boy Stephen brought that up.
Oh, right, it is Goat Boy. Sorry, when you said Goat Boy, I automatically went to look and I thought, we don't call him Goat Boy. It's no he's. But you actually do mean Goat Boy.
Let's look at the Scapegoat podcast, which we will be appearing on in due course. We are also Paul.
I was going to say big asshole shout out here because I'm going to be on an episode of The Disaster Artist soon talking about the Predator, not Jimmy Savile.
Totally different guy. Harvey Weinstein.
Not Kevin Spacey, not Weinstein, but the big open-mouthed monster who lives in the trees and attacks soldiers.
Rolf Harris.
That's the one me called Mad on me.
But anyway, the thing about this stat is that it's also not even accurate. Like the producers of the show have said that they only got about 85,000 applicants, which is obviously significant. I mean, it's still
Twice as many as Oxbridge.
But also look at the amount of people who are eligible to apply.
Literally,
for Love Island.
If you're not sure how many people are eligible to apply, go to a gym, stand in the middle, spin round 360 degrees. Probably about 90% of the people there.
Well, the rules for Love Island state you only have to be over 18 to apply. The shows only twice feature the contestant over 30. So if you go to the ONS, it estimates that in 2016 there were 11.2 million UK residents aged 18 to 30. So
I think there's other things that you need to be able to get on it. Not fat and ugly. I think probably falls under criteria.
Yeah, but you need to be not thick to go to Oxbridge as well. Like largely. Oh well, I mean I say that you need to be
not thick or rich.
Yeah. You need to be poor and really smart, or like fucking average and really really rich. So, or like have maybe like a dynasty of your family who've went there. That helps. So, yeah, bit of fake news anyway. Roughly 1.5% of the people who could have applied to Love Island did apply to Love Island. But if you look at the people who applied to Oxford and Cambridge, according to UCAS, 527,670 people based in the UK applied to go to university in 2017. So you're only looking at a percentage of that, and quite a significant percentage of that, obviously 40,000 applied to go to Oxbridge. So more people who are applying to go to university are applying for Oxbridge than people who can apply for Love Island applying for Love Island. And anyway, it's a pointless statistic essentially.
No, and like I said, the other side of it, I can almost guarantee that the % of the people who actually, like at the top end of Oxbridge, probably do make £2.5 million over 5 years, or certainly a reasonable number of people from it. You know what I mean?
It depends what they go into, because just being academically incredibly smart can often mean that you just go into working in the academic field. I don't know how much a senior lecturer gets paid at Oxbridge.
Only because it's like 40,000 to Oxbridge and essentially 80,000 to Love Island. Only like one person, like half a person essentially, but only one person.
4.
Because there's 8 in the final, so there is, sorry. So 2 people then essentially. 4 because it's 8, isn't it? Right, there we go. I had to say that twice.
Yeah.
But I didn't process it the first time. But only 4 people from Oxbridge have
top
to,
4 people.
Yeah, but only 4 of them have to make more than...
But I
2.5
suppose
million quid in
if we
4
just
years.
go top 4 in earnings, then yeah, I would say almost definitely.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So it's probably not actually true either. Like, I mean, there's more chance. Like, essentially, see if you're in a scenario where you're taking advice of whether or not you should apply to Oxbridge or Love Island. Like, if you're listening to this podcast to get that advice, you're probably applying to Love Island, and go for it. Live the dream. Fucking follow your hopes and dreams. Because
I was hopeful that you were going to say something positive about our listener base, like they must all be super smart because they're listening to us, so they'd be applying for Oxbridge. No, is that
well,
right?
obviously I think that, but what I'm saying is, if you're looking for the advice of me and you on whether or not you should take one of those avenues,
Oh yeah,
the
just go to Love
the
Island.
avenue is clear for you. So like I said, those statistics just seem like absolute bollocks. Like, I guarantee that probably out of the X amount of people that qualify in the top of every single class that qualifies of a year, they probably don't make £2.5 million or whatever it was. But yeah, if you only have to find 4 people every year from Oxbridge have managed to make £2.5 million in 5 years, it probably isn't that difficult.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, first of all, I would like to say that it is a BAFTA award-winning show, so it's not like total bullshit. I mean, it is total bullshit, but it's considered, to be award-worthy by the fucking TV industry in the UK. Second thing I'm going to say is that, to me, I would wonder why this study by this financial fucking frontier economics consultancy was done in the first place. Was it paid for from the PR budget of Love Island, so that it would get more people talking about the show, or is it just an excuse for the broadsheets to talk about what is essentially a tabloid subject, but it means you get to print a few pictures of sexy young people?
It probably is. It probably is the latter, to be honest. I can't imagine. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I can't imagine MD's looked at it and have thought to themselves, you know what, this is something that we have to deep dive into. And anyway, the reason that it's fucking up, like, the statistics are just bollocks anyway, so they've probably not put much effort into it, and it was just a opinion piece to allow a conversation to kind of go in.
So, from Love Island to Hate Island, or Northern Ireland as some people like to call it, and looking at the DUP kind of scandal that we've had in the past couple of weeks.
So the DUP thought to themselves, we're known as being a bit backwards in a religious intensity.
Right.
Thought, we're known for being a smidgen racist. We're known for being homophobic. We're known for
being anti-abortion.
We're known for bumping people out of EU money for combi boilers or some shit, because it was gas boilers, wasn't it?
I think it was
renewable energy gas.
It was like wood burning fucking stoves or some pish.
It was some kind of it's really terrible that off the top of my head I can't remember this, because it was so. Anyway, it was old Arlene. She was taking cash for putting in burners that she wasn't putting in, like showing up or selling up van just to immediately put in your boiler. But so the king of the DUP, the son of the king of the DUP,
the Crown Prince of North Antrim.
That's what they call him. That's actually what it says. So
Ian Paisley Jr.
That's the one. So he, as it turns out, is a big fan of
Catholics. No way.
No. Taking bribes.
Oh right, okay. Fuck! I always get that one wrong. So I mean, you allegedly. I mean, bribes. Can we say bribes?
Well, I mean, right. So if I give you stuff for free, and exchange you do things for me, that's probably a bribe.
Oh yeah. No, when you put it like that.
You know what I mean?
So Ian Paisley Jr.'s been done for bribes. So essentially what happened was the Sri Lankan...
I don't actually know if he's been done, but he's been kicked out.
Well,
certainly.
He's been found to have Parliament and to put Parliament in disrepute.
Which is a fucking fair shot in Northern Ireland.
Pretty good.
It was actually Westminster.
It was Westminster, aye. He has been suspended from the House of Commons for 30 days, and they have advised his salary should be suspended for that 30-day period as well. And it's the most severe punishment that's been meted out to a MP since like 1949, I believe. So it's a pretty big deal.
Do you know, I watched a video once, and I'm sure it was his dad sitting at a table loading a revolver while he was talking in the interview. I'm not even.
It was another mental fucking like.
Was it no
no,
Paisley?
I'm trying. What was that we were watching that on? I remember the exact video you're talking about.
And the guy was sitting at a desk, like just casually loading a revolver, talking about the troubles.
I think it was on one of the Frankie Boyle shows. Maybe I think it was a clip on a Frankie Boyle show. Definitely, yeah. It was might have been a DUP member. In fact, it was a DUP member because he was talking about the DUP because he was talking about the fact that obviously Theresa May had done a deal with him and stuff. But yeah, it was just some fucking guy
just
loading up a revolver.
Actually, I could have swore it was an older video of Ian Paisley. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Turns out your son's dodgy as a motherfucker.
Yeah, definitely. And it's not the first time that he's been in bother previously in Northern Ireland, had a bit of scandal around about him.
You're telling me Ian Paisley Jr. has been involved in scandal in Northern Ireland?
Yeah,
but his dad was a fucking saint.
I mean...
A Protestant saint. So, not a Catholic saint.
Yeah, is that a thing? I don't know enough.
In general?
Yeah, I don't even know what I'm doing here.
Who the fuck am I? I presume Protestant saints and Catholic, like...
But I don't know if they have saints. I mean, genuinely, I don't because I think one of the major problems with like when Luther fucking stuck his
Vandross.
Yeah. Woke up this morning, looked at your picture just to get me started. He was on about the Virgin Mary.
He was on about.
And then he was like, actually, why are we worshipping her? It should just be Jesus and no saints either. Fucking, I'm sick of all this pish. But I think, yeah, it was
sick of this pish. That's actually what it says. He walked up to the steps of the church and just whacked in a note, and across it just says, "I'm sick of this pish." It was down to the point. It's one of the. Started to pronounce it better.
And everybody was like, fuck's sake, Luther, that's a bit disrespectful. He's like, oh, right, okay, I'll go back and I'll come up with some I'll workshop some ideas.
Oh, I'm noticing nobody else was fucking throwing out ideas, but you're not criticising me. Luther Vandross.
I wish I could dance with my father again. My father,
being God and not any of your fucking idols, you saint worshipping bastards.
So essentially what I'm saying is I believe that they wanted to take away worship of all this because basically the argument was that we were essentially
worshipping false idols,
a polytheist as well, you know, in the same way that like fucking Hindus and
I think I know polytheist.
Fuck off. So yeah, anyway, we went
half right. So Ian Paisley Jr. So,
oh yeah, I remember him.
So he was kicking about Sri Lanka.
Oh yes, so essentially what happened was the Sri Lankan government paid for some extremely eye-wateringly expensive holidays for Ian Paisley Jr., which failed.
Obviously, we're just in the Greater Antrim area because he doesn't like to leave Northern Ireland just because.
You bet they sent the Carrickaville Rope Bridge, Giant's Causeway, Ballantoy Harbour. He done all the good ones.
He went on the Bushmills tour. He had a fucking great time.
He loved it there.
But the problem is, if he went anywhere else, he might meet a Catholic. So fuck that. So I get sent all over the world having a couple of parties.
I actually know a guy who used to work at Bushmills back in the period where they didn't really employ Catholics, but he was a Catholic. I was talking to him about it. I was having a drink with him a wee while ago in Northern Ireland, and he was like, I was saying, was it true about Bushmills, like they didn't employ any Catholics? He was like, I worked there. I was like, fuck off. He was like, nah, seriously. But his name's Willie. He's like, I think they just saw my first name and thought, aye, he must be one of us. So I just kept my head down the entire time I was there.
I love the idea that a Channel 4 TV programme called The Secret Catholic, right? They just put them in various places in the Belfast area.
Anyway, please don't turn off any non-Catholic listeners.
And for the listeners who have came over to us after hearing us being on the Scapegoat, who are from Northern Ireland, hi guys!
So essentially, he was bought all these extremely extravagant holidays.
Donated. He was donated them. Neglected to announce them on his donation sheet or return sheet or whatever he has to put into Parliament. And then returns. I love the idea. Just fucking it's the end of the month. I'm going to have to put in my fucking timesheets
in. And then proceeded to lobby David Cameron quite significantly when he was the Prime Minister on behalf of the Sri Lankan government. So Yeah, and he's been found guilty of it, and it's all very dodgy. Like I say, he has previously been involved in scandal in Northern Ireland. It was a bit more kind of parochial and you know, not to the sort of extreme level of this.
Without sounding scathing towards him, I think a relative number of the high-end fucking politicians for the DUP have been involved in scandal in Northern Ireland.
And Sinn Féin.
Oh no, that's a different type of I mean, just mean because the only reason I was using the DUP there is because he's DUP and they've been in charge for quite some time. Like certainly, there's a whole shitload of people at the top of Sinn Féin who are definitely involved in
stuff
activities.
Obviously, there's a bit more of a spotlight on this with Ian Paisley Jr. because the DUP are essentially propping up Her Majesty's government at the minute.
It's almost like people at the DUP who were getting up to all dodgy shit didn't think about the fact that people might start looking at them a bit more closely if they get involved with the Tories and the government.
It's also like Theresa May and that, didn't they fucking really do due diligence and think about it either, but hey ho. What is interesting is what will happen next with him, because there's talk of a by-election happening, but
that's his least favourite elections.
But
he prefers straight elections.
He's virtually unbeatable in North Antrim. Like, it doesn't matter. You could put fucking William of Orange up against him and he'd still probably fucking win. You know what I mean? He's going to get voted for. If the DUP kick him out, he'll stand as an independent and win anyway. So there's really no way to punish him, essentially. And the DUP have said, well, we're going to have our own investigation.
I bet that'll go well.
Why do you need to do that? He's already been found guilty, but anyway.
I bet the DUP come back from their investigation and just like, nothing. Had a look and so he had some mates in Sri Lanka and he didn't know that meant that what he had done was illegal. They're always going on holiday together, mostly without each other, to different places.
He's in government, they're in government. There was some stuff in the papers about how there was emails that had been that he'd written, sort of saying how he has amazing contacts in like the oil industry and in engineering and chemical and like all of this stuff, and was
just people that might be in the Orange Order.
Fuck's sake, and yeah, just you
said fuck's sake there as if there's no doubt that Ian Paisley Jr. is a member of the Orange Order.
There is no doubt. But he was basically giving them offering them access to all of these folk as well. It's
weird how the media would pick that apart, but it's totally okay for like Boris Johnson to do it for a game of tennis with some Russians.
Well, I mean, but people have got in trouble for doing similar in the past. Like David Mellor had to resign for not declaring holidays that were paid for. Priti Patel obviously was over holidaying with like members of Israeli lobbyists and stuff like that, and got in a lot of bother about it. But
Boris Johnson was the foreign secretary, and they paid a lot of money for tennis with Boris.
Oh yeah, but that's declared. You see, that's the difference. It's okay as long as it's announced that it happened. If you know what I mean. It's still fucking dodgy as fuck, obviously, but it's like it's the transparency that has to be there.
He's certainly transparent.
It's pretty, yeah. Like I imagine his skin's fucking practically translucent. Like he could go on holiday to Egypt for like fucking 5 weeks and he would still come back a sort of pale blue.
I can guarantee you that Boris Johnson would not go on holiday to Egypt. There's far too many things. I mean, like there's nowhere near enough of the population.
That's not necessarily true. They've probably got good hookers.
Oh, I make a good point. He does love a hooker. Loves having a wee cheeky illegitimate child. Fake news. Drink libel.
Illegitimate twins. Fake news. Drink libel.
Illegitimate twins is exactly what Trump likes to shag. Not his own, just anybody's.
I don't know. Well, I mean, yeah. Does he piss on them?
Aye, that's his bit, isn't it? I mean,
pissing and wanting to fuck his own daughter.
Pissing, wanting to fuck his own daughter, and sending out tweets about how he can't believe that lawyers would record things in offices, because that happens as well.
Yeah, that was hilarious. Oh my god! Apparently, some journalists do this too. That's what he said in his tweet.
It's absolutely disgusting.
Taped conversations.
And he also then says in it, and how come it's been cut just when I was going to start saying nice things? So anyway, I think we've pretty much all but covered Ian Paisley and what was going down in the DUP. What's next on the agenda for the last month?
Well, what other political scandals have been going on for for quite some time and have still not been quashed and keep rearing their ugly head.
Well, wait. We were talking about DUP. We were
Right.
talking about Ian Paisley. His father certainly had affiliation with UVF, so we should look at someone who's got affiliation with the IRA. The one you would always go to, Jeremy Corbyn.
Cool. I mean, first of all, I don't know that we could actually say that Ian Paisley had affiliation with UBF. He might have done. I don't know. I might be potentially quite libelous. So let's say that was a joke and we don't really know about that. But certainly, fucking yeah, Corbyn's been accused of being an IRA sympathiser. Tell you what though, hates them Jews.
Hates Jews, as I understand it. And by hates Jews, what it seems to mean is he's not willing to enforce a set of rules surrounding anti-Semitism into Labour.
Well, I think, right, aye. So it's
that's not the reason that he hated Jews originally. The reason he hated Jews originally was because somebody had painted a picture that he didn't think was that Jewish.
Yeah. That's what kind of kicked it off, and then it's kind of been ran with by the tabloids in terms of, you know, they found a number of anti-Semitic remarks being made by Labour members, supporters online, kind of built a dossier of evidence to, you know, use it as a stick to beat Labour with. And, you know, the Labour Party haven't dealt with this great.
No, I mean, I think first we have to definitely, not saying that it's right, but we have to agree in the fact that the Labour Party definitely, probably, just like any party that is of the sheer size of them, definitely have people who are anti-Semitic, definitely have people who are probably racist, definitely have people who are xenophobic and sectarian in them. That's a definite.
Yes.
And we actually, kind of following that, there's pictures at the present moment circulating around the internet of various Conservative MPs dressed as Nazis at different parties across the last couple of years. So we know that it happens there as well. But the focus is on Jeremy Corbyn.
Yeah, and like,
I would argue,
and in fairness, it's not a great argument to go, well, the Tories do it as well, because that's just fucking whataboutery, right?
No, but all I kind of mean is the focus seems to be solely on Labour when this is a bigger problem, which is in politics across the board, there are key members of various parties who are definitely in some way, shape or form sectarian or racist or whatever, and in this case we're talking about anti-Semitism.
You could argue though that it's only became, or it only keeps rearing its head, and it's only been such an issue against Labour for such a large amount of time now because they've failed to deal with it in a definitive manner. Yeah,
I mean, like, I like Jeremy Corbyn as a bloke, if you will. Do you know what I mean? Like, he seems to have a lot of the same values that I'm sure none of our listeners are shocked that I have, certainly.
Yeah, and me.
Yeah, I know, but like, but I can just only talk for me in this scenario where I can say, definitely I can say we align with lots of things. Obviously, I'm an ex-Russian spy. I used to be a member of the IRA, so we've got those things in common anyway. Yeah. But, so I like, but I don't think it could manage his way out of bed in the morning if there wasn't somebody there. Like, he is, without a doubt, the most useless attribute in like the Labour Party at the present moment, because he doesn't do any of the things he should be doing as a leader, and any human being in the world right now should be able to be in charge of Labour and make the Tories look bad at what they're doing. And granted, he has a media campaign against him that would be an uphill struggle from the word go, but that's because he doesn't play the game.
True, but he's also like, I mean, for a second, just coming off of the sort of anti-Semitism scandal, he's not doing the basic things that I would expect from an opposition leader at the moment. So number one, why is he not giving the government shit about the Leave campaign and about all the illegalities which have been proven now by the Electoral Commission? Why is that not being brought up, and why is that not being used heavily by Labour? I suppose because, one, ideologically he's in favour of leaving the EU, and two, they seem, on any issue, they seem not to want to upset the apple cart or to put too much media spotlight on Labour at all. They want all of the talk in the newspapers always to be about the Tories and how badly they're doing with Brexit, which obviously is a decent strategy, but they're not try to take the opportunity to get some positive press for what Labour are doing either.
I mean, a lot of times that people put across the arguments, the reasons that he doesn't do that are things like, because it isn't something he even spoke about tonight, and it's actually something that there's an argument of the reason that he's still having the problems he's having with the perceived anti-Semitism, certainly in Labour, that he's a man of integrity, and there's things that he won't move on, and he won't, like, you know, I mean, he won't sway from his the points that make him the man that he is. Do you know what I mean? The only problem with that is, though,
not entirely true either, by the way.
I know, but you're an opposition leader, so this is, like, in the nicest possible way, it's your fucking job.
Yeah,
like, that's your job. Like, standing there.
If you're not cut out to roll up your sleeves and play dirty with the rest of them, then maybe you shouldn't be the leader.
Aye, I mean, like, I don't doubt that he would be a great. I was going to say, like, like, I don't know. He probably shouldn't be in the Foreign Office in any way, shape, or form, because I don't really think he cares. He's very insular, like, regarding the country. But, like, he would be a great MP in the cabinet, like a real holding a high up position again, or like no chancellor either. I don't really know what position he would fit in. Home secretary.
It was a great, I mean,
like, he'd be a good home secretary under a leader that was as much as he is a war criminal.
Department of Work and Pensions, because he actually has sympathy for the fucking average working man and wants to see their lives better, and wouldn't be, like, doing the sort of stuff that Ian Duncan Smith was famous for in terms of means testing and fucking people killing themselves because they can't get benefits, etc. Might even be a really good health secretary or a transport secretary or something like that. However,
but the point being with that is just that, like, as much, like I was going to say there, like, as much as he was a war criminal and a terrible person in the grand scheme of things, the reason that Tony Blair got to where he was because he played the game, he played the media, he done his bits, he fought, he made people look stupid, he done his bit.
Well, he also had, like, really centrist, even centre-right policies which appealed to the people in the media that would curry favour with them, you know what I mean? And then he would get good press off of them.
But I would argue a lot of that was him playing the game. He had a lot of policies once he was in power that were left-ish, like, not left, but left-ish stuff that I don't believe if he had focused on and played when he was trying to get elected, that he would have got as much sway in the media.
But he pulled the Labour Party away from the sort of policies that Jeremy Corbyn is in favour of, which I believe are kind of necessary at the moment in the UK.
I believe they're necessary, but I also know that they won't get them voted in. Like, so
I think they could with a different leader. I mean, I also think one thing that worries me a bit about Jeremy Corbyn's current leadership of the Labour Party is this, right? We can see from the sort of demographics that voted for him and turned up to vote in terms of, like, I mean, poor inner city black people in London, for example, buoyed by the kind of grime movement and stuff, grime for Corbyn and whatever, young people in general. And if you look at their opinion on the referendum, for example, and whether or not they want to remain part of the EU, those people have been drawn to politics and drawn to Jeremy Corbyn specifically because he seems to represent a different kind of politics, a more honest, decent kind of politics. He's not, in terms of policy, giving them what they want, standing up for what they believe in, certainly on that specific issue. And, I think there's an opportunity there for him to change that. Even not to become full-on anti-Brexit, but perhaps to support a people's vote, which we'll kind of get on to later.
I mean, like, but the problem we've got, like, so the last time that we've seen someone getting crucified this badly was ironically JC by the Jewish people, which brings us back to the actual topic, which is in the anti-Semitism that we're talking about here. It's like so one of the big issues is that, as we spoke about, he's not willing to enforce the outline, the template for.
It's the IHRA definition of anti-Semitism.
Yeah, so the guidelines for how to deal with and identify and
define
anti-Semitism, and he's not willing to accept that.
He's not willing to accept their definition of it, and essentially to put it into the sort of constitution of the Labour Party through the NEC, right?
Now,
To say that this is their accepted definition of anti-Semitism.
So I understand from my opinions and stuff that there's certain components amongst that definition that I don't fully agree with. I think there's a lot of stuff that's obviously anti-Semitism. There's a couple of things there that I think are questionable.
I think the specific thing that Corbyn and people who sympathise with his position take issue with is the section in it about recognising the State of Israel.
Yeah,
and not recognising the State of Israel as defined as anti-Semitism. Now, there are people who have suggested that that means that that criticism of Israel would be classed as anti-Semitism. I don't perceive it that way, and I think that there's certainly room for massive criticism of Israeli domestic policy, and or foreign policy, if you want to call it that, but certainly their policy towards Gaza, towards the Palestinians. I think that that criticism is necessary, because any country which is abusing people's human rights and trying to invoke some sort of apartheid state definitely requires criticism. But I don't see. I think he's picking a fucking strange fight here.
Yeah. So I mean, the thing is, I can understand where what we're talking about there comes from. Like, I don't believe. Like, I will never question the fact that there is both racism and sectarianism attached to the Jewish people. Like, their plight, I have no problem with agreeing that those things exist. You know,
towards them, you mean?
Yeah, towards like the plight of the Jewish people is definitely, in both those scenarios,
a real and historic thing.
Yeah, and from different angles. I mean, like, some people it's a race thing, some people it's a religion thing, because some people are heavy weird on religion and some people are heavy weird on release. I made up a thing there to describe the scenario. But anyway, but when it comes to like the State of Israel, that I understand why he then has the issue, because you can see, if you look online and stuff like that, if people criticise Israel's apartheid is the only way to really describe it. People then get told that they can't, like, you're only saying that because you're anti-Semitic, and it almost instantly, even with scholars and newspapers and people who can be proven to not be anti-Semitic because of their past, Jeremy Corbyn, for example, people who are proven to not be anti-Semitic get shut down and are too scared to continue fighting it, because having that label attached to you almost protects the cause that is stuff that's happening in Israel. And like, I'm anti-asshole, and there's a lot of things that Israel as a country, I don't give a shit what religion they are. I don't give a shit what race they are. If it was any other country in the world, if this same thing was happening in China, in Japan, in Germany, in the UK, I would condemn it. Because they're being assholes, and I don't care about their race or religion at that point.
Yeah, and I think there's plenty of Jewish people who
would do the same.
Would hold that view as well.
But then the problem is, as you said, in the case of the way that the Labour Party is and the way that they're perceived at the present moment and everything, why pick that fucking fight?
Well, it's specifically the not accepting the definition. Like,
yeah, that's what I mean. Why pick that fight?
Because in practical terms, what real difference is it going to fucking make to them? And it's very easy to just say, yeah, well, we accept that. We do accept that definition. To me, there's still room within that definition for criticism of Israel domestic policy, and it sort of shows goodwill towards the Jewish community.
I mean, I would. The problem is definitely the Israel factor in that whole thing, because we can show fucking 30 years ago Jeremy Corbyn, the famous picture of Jeremy Corbyn getting huckled for protesting the issues in South Africa.
Yeah.
So we know that he strongly has opinions on that, and he has issues with the way that Israel are treating the Palestinians. So we know that at the present moment, and we shouldn't expect anything less from the man.
No.
But I also agree that in the grand scheme of fights to choose right now, the not saying, yeah, we accept that definition, and then even if after it he then says, even though I accepted the definition, I still have lots of issues with Israel as a country and the way it's acting, then if people call him anti-Semitic, then he deals with that then. But all this is doing is like fanning flames. Like, realistically, I don't believe there is anyone actually who believes Jeremy Corbyn
as an anti-Semite.
As an anti-Semite. I don't think anyone. There is no Jewish... I mean, there might be some heavy, mad religious and a far, a dangerous level of religious believers who believe that he is an anti-Semite. But I don't think any standard person, be them Muslim or Christian or Jewish or anything that you take on the street right now, believes that Jeremy Corbyn as a person is anti-Semitic. So to suggest that he is, and doing what the media do, and doing what... I mean, I think we spoke about it in the last episode, but certainly a Conservative MP suggested in a tweet that Jeremy Corbyn was a Holocaust denier.
Oh yeah, it was the Home Secretary. It was Sajid. Sajid, fucking hell, what's his name? Sajid. No, I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
Home Secretary.
The Home Secretary Sajid. Had essentially said, "Oh, don't go down that route. Don't be duped by Jeremy Corbyn." And had essentially sort of insinuated that Corbyn was a Holocaust denier, which is a pretty fucking major thing to say for the Home Secretary. Sajid Javid, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. But it's about as slanderous as you can get. Because, I mean, again, no one genuinely, there's certainly no one in the Conservative cabinet believes that Jeremy Corbyn is an anti-Semite.
No, but they just, again, like, I understand that he's a principled man, but he's chosen the wrong principle to stick to here when he's been shown in the past, like with Trident, he's been an ardent CND campaigner his entire political career, but in the campaign for the election, he supported Trident, said he would keep Trident, right? So he's obviously prepared to step down for his principles in the right circumstance. I don't understand why he doesn't want. I mean, to me, that would have been a far better fight to pick, and I would have had quite a lot of respect for him for picking that fight when it would almost certainly have lost him votes. This one could cost him his career as Labour leader, potentially.
Not even just his career as Labour leader, but certainly right now, because of the way that the media are leveraging it, relatively... So see, the recess comes back here. See in the event, some sequence of events play out and the Tories do decide that they're going to oust May and go to a cabinet reshuffle or whatever, and it triggers a general election or anything like that happens, because of the way that it's being leveraged, Labour are not winning that election. You know what I mean? If an election happens essentially between now and Brexit, or even just after Brexit, Labour aren't winning that, because right now you've got people who are reading the newspaper who believe that Jeremy Corbyn is like a racist and a xenophobe, like that.
There are certain people who will use any excuse to not vote for Jeremy Corbyn, or to use as a reason to not vote for him anyway. Like,
but there's a lot of people that we already knew who weren't voting for him. But what I mean is there is this unsettling feeling that people have now got, because they get a lot of their news from the papers that say a man who we know is of integrity as a person.
I don't think the newspapers are necessarily saying that Jeremy Corbyn's an anti-Semite. I think they're just saying that he's not doing enough to get rid of anti-Semitism or condemn anti-Semitism in his party. And also, I think anti-Semitism definitely exists. I don't know, I'm not sure that it's as rife as it's made out to be, but I don't know is the honest answer. I think it's definitely there, and I think you don't need to look that hard to find it. But, for example, like there was a Labour councillor who has been suspended for sharing a post saying it's a Jewish ritual to drink blood and suck baby's dick.
So he's a mad sectarian, possibly racist, but certainly a mad sectarian idiot. Right?
Damien Endicott, who's councillor in Bognor Regis, he's been suspended for the Labour Party. So they've suspended him though.
Yeah, because he said something that
is fucking outrageous.
That is sectarian, the same way it would be if he said something about a Muslim.
Anti-Semitic.
Same thing. It's the same thing. It's a sectarian. It's an issue they attacked based on the person's religion. So, but yeah, I mean, so that's that's what they done. But then someone condemning Israel because they're murdering kids isn't the same issue. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's not the same. They're not doing it because they don't like Jews. They're doing it because they don't like persecution of people and children.
There's also traditionally a rather large element of the right wing which has seriously anti-Jewish sentiment, not just in the UK but in the US and stuff as well. Obviously, the Nazis had quite a large problem with Jewish people and were quite significantly right wing, and there's been a rise of Nazism globally in the past couple of years. You can certainly see in a lot of the behind the scenes footage of the Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville. There was lots of Sieg Heils being thrown, lots of gas the Jews type statements, calling them kikes, calling them lots of fucking hideous anti-Jewish slurs. So, but
like I said, there's pictures of current conservative members dressed as Nazis doing the Roman salute, like right now, like, you know what I mean?
But I guess as sort of people that would skew towards the left ourselves, we need to hold the left up to much higher fucking ideals and values than people like that, you know. And you would like to see any sort of sentiment that is anti. I mean, it's bigotry basically in any
well, see,
fucking
that's the
shape
problem,
and
though,
form.
it's bigotry. That's what
should be called out and should be stamped out immediately. And hemming and hawing and sort of debating over definitions of what is anti-Semitism, when I think we can all agree that anti-Semitism is a real thing and that it does exist somewhere in the Labour Party. Just fucking call it out, call it for what it is. Don't dilly-dally, and don't make people who potentially are, you know, part of the Labour Party and feel that way think that, oh, we have the support of our leader, because he isn't sort of saying straight away this is fucking wrong and abhorrent. I mean, he has apologised.
Well, see, that's the thing. So he has kind of like you said, that see if someone is openly being in any way, shape, see if anyone is being openly offensive to any religion, they generally get axed or at least suspended from the party.
I keep trying to, like, you know, take the other side and play devil's advocate in this and see it from the other point of view. And yeah, but I do find it a strange one.
Stuff muddies the water though. Like, I mean, the article that we get tagged in the other day, the video where there was a guy talking about, so Trump said when he was saying goodbye to Cohen that he says he's a really good man even though he's a globalist, and he's like, don't mistake anything, Cohen is a globalist. And then the video stopped, and the person who was the narrator, yeah, it was he was a Jewish man, I believe, and he was like, don't make any mistake, when he said globalist, it was meaning Jew, and it was used as a slur for Jewish people and them trying to take over the world. And it's like, oh, no, it's not. That's not what the word globalist means, certainly to me. That's not what the word globalist means to most people that I know.
No.
The globalist is almost the opposite, not the direct opposite, obviously, but the opposite from essentially a nationalist, someone who is interested in, for me certainly, I would say someone interested in like a one world government or a more centralised system for governing and policing and military and banking, and more interested in unifying the world in something like a worldwide EU type scenario or a worldwide NATO type scenario, and being more focused on that than being forced on national policies and internal policies. That to me is what a globalist is.
Yeah.
It does not in any way, shape or form. It transcends religion and race. In fact, specifically, logically, for you to be a globalist, it has to transcend religion and race.
Yeah. And Trump is quite openly and outwardly a nationalist, an isolationist. You know, he's about making America great again.
But when he went into the White House, almost 50% of his members of staff / investors into getting into the White House were Jewish. Do you know what I mean? It's not like,
well, I mean, and yeah, and
but
so is his daughter, who he wants to fuck.
Yeah, exactly.
She's a Jewish convert. So is would you call him Jared Kushner's a Jew?
Yeah, so that's what I mean. So like, it's not like we already know that he's.
I don't believe that Trump's. I anti-Jewish. I don't believe
No.
he's anti-Semitic. I believe Steve Bannon is.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He's definitely, but I don't even just think he's anti-Semitic. I believe he is.
I believe he's anti-fucking everything. He's a white supremacist.
He's a white supremacist. I believe he's a racist and he's a xenophobe and he's sectarian and he hates everything that's not white and Christian and American, essentially, but certainly white and Christian.
Probably uses all sorts of homophobic slurs.
Absolutely, definitely. But the problem is that, like I was saying, with that article that we were tagged in, that type of shit muddies the waters. We've got issues to address here, but then using words like telling people globalist means this. No, it doesn't. Globalist does not mean that.
Like,
Let's not muddy the waters.
I was listening to the New Statesman podcast earlier today to try and brush up on a bit of recent politics before we did this.
Sweet US politics.
No, it was British, and they were talking about the Corbyn thing, and they were specifically talking about a Labour member. I don't know if they were a representative. I believe they were a representative who'd shared something on social media, sort of saying how Israel were using Mossad and lobbyists to push an anti-Labour agenda through the British press, and they were sort of poo-pooing this and laughing at this as if it was the most ridiculous conspiracy theory kind of garbage they'd ever heard in their life. But it's not an entirely unrealistic prospect. Like, we know for a fact that Harvey Weinstein was using the sort of private military contractor intelligence services PSYOPs company Black Cube, who are all ex-Mossad agents, to try and influence the press with regards to charges against him and get dirt on the people who were making accusations against him and the journalists who were publishing this stuff, including Ronan Farrow. They are the same company who were trying to dig up dirt on everybody who was involved in the Iran deal, the US-Iran deal, in Obama's administration and the negotiators and stuff in that, deliberately to try and, pull the deal apart and show that, people had acted in a corrupt manner and stuff. They were contacting like the wives of the negotiators and trying to meet up with them. This is all stuff which is
regularly available and documented.
Yeah, but particularly Ronan Farrow and I think the New York Times, maybe the Washington Post, I can't remember, has written extensively about this. These are Mossad agents. This is what they do. The idea that that's not within their skill set is very fucking naive.
Well, what annoys the shit out of me is, so people laugh at it. God, it's so ridiculous to say, but people...
by the way, and that's not an anti-Israeli statement. It's within the fucking powers and the skill set of every major intelligence service in the world.
Well, what I don't get is the more, like, I don't understand why people find it so difficult to perceive that this is what people do. I mean, like, if I take you back 9 years ago, and I sat you on various forums and stuff like that I used, and people would tell you that the government listen to everything that goes through, and people would tell you how fucking ridiculous. I'd look at how paranoid you believe that everything that goes through, and then Snowden came out and says that's exactly what fucking happens, and then everybody then had to accept it. If you even look back to just over a year ago, when we done the episode about Cambridge Analytica, we discussed at that point an article that we found to do with Darren Grimes that nobody else was talking about at the time, where it was evidently clear. I mean, the article was in the Metro. It hadn't really been spoke about by any other sources. Even that's the one big thing that we went to. Like, I mean, that where we were able to show that he had said in open scenario that the people he was getting funding off were the people we knew at that point were involved in stuff in the United States and had been proven.
He made the mistake of saying that he had seen the work that Cambridge Analytica had done Arrogant IQ had done on the Ted Cruz campaign.
And because of that, but we brought that up at the time, and people would still tell you how fucking ridiculous it was. How ridiculous is it that you're suggesting that all these companies and all these people are colluding together to try and push forward Brexit, and it's ridiculous. And take you a year later to now, and not only did it all come out in the wash, then big up for Carol for all the work that she done that led us to where we got to. But not only did that come out in the wash, but now I can show you tweets of Tory MPs telling people right now that they are supporting Grimes's
Darren Grimes.
Yeah, Grimesy.
Wee Grimesy.
G-Boy, Grimesy's crowdfund for him to make money. Now, the thing for him
Not to be mixed up with Grime for Corbyn. This is Grimes for Grimesy.
No, this is Grimes for Brexit. And he's...
The crowdfund's just Grimes for Grimesy. Just pay all my bills in, give us a wee bit extra.
Well, that's exactly what it is. I mean, he's asking for 60 grand, and I believe the current fine is 20 grand, so he's making a sweet 40 grand off that, and you've got Labour, you've got Tory MPs.
See, I thought he'd asked for exactly what he...
No, he's asked for more. And Tory MPs right now are tweeting about the fact that they've paid to help him out in a scenario. Help him out in what scenario? He was involved, and he has been proven to be involved.
I also don't think that's legal. Like, it's not legal for him to use... Like, it's not... He has to use his own money to pay that fine.
Does he though?
Yeah.
How did it work with? So how does it work with legal fees? If say I don't know, you put up a video of a pug or some shit.
Maybe not legal. No, yeah, but this is a fine that's been imposed on him specifically for the wrongdoing from him specifically in the Leave campaign.
How does it work if it's donations? Anyway, we would have to look into the legalities. We'll check though. We will check and we'll come back on that. But certainly,
he's not allowed to fundraise to pay it off, is my understanding, because I read an article about it. I'll find it. I'll put it on the links, because we provide all our sources for everything we talk about
on www.notanotherfakenewscast.com. Oh my god, we need to get that recorded so we can do that, like a wee do and like right, that's for the next run. Then we'll try and get that done. But yeah, so with him though, like there's a good example of how people told us at the time. People told us, close friends and everything, told us that what we were talking about was absolutely ridiculous and why would it happen? But we're a year later and it's happening. So then when people are talking about Mossad, an agency that we know have done it in the past, doing something here this time.
And like, listen, I want to make it clear. I'm not saying that's definitely happening, but I'm saying to poo-poo it, to poo-poo the idea as if it's utterly ridiculous and unheard of is equally daft, you know?
Especially the same people.
Of course it could happen.
Especially a lot of the same people who are poo-pooing it, the same people who tell you that Russia was involved in or have been proven to be involved in rigging elections or on one side of the argument or another side of the argument. Essentially, because the Russian Secret Service were essentially doing that. Now, I'm not saying that the British Secret Service aren't doing that in various places as well. In fact, I would be entirely shocked if they're not. But
from a British foreign policy perspective, you would hope that they are, right?
Helping to
further British interest.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that's fundamentally what we're talking about here.
There's absolutely no doubt whatsoever that is not in Israel's foreign policy interest to have a Labour government under Jeremy Corbyn
absolutely.
in charge of the UK.
I mean,
absolutely not.
The funding, the interaction, the weapons deals, all that type of stuff that happens between the UK and Israel are absolutely definitely...
They would be in danger.
Yeah, and they're definitely driven by the Tory government, who have vested interest in being able to do that anyway, but then on top of that, have political alignments with them. Jeremy Corbyn has already made it clear that he doesn't like the way that the Israeli state is treating the Palestinians in Gaza. So why would they not do that? It just seems like... And
it would be irresponsible for them not to.
Yeah, so I'm not saying that they are. And we're not saying that they are, but we're saying that it's totally justifiable to imagine that they are. And the fact that it was suggested...
And I could completely understand why they would.
Oh, yeah. So that got a bit intense, and we all but covered the whole...
I think that's pretty much where we are with JC and the Jews.
JC and the Jews.
Which is another good band name.
Decent. I think I've seen them. Donington. So what's next on the agenda,
I think they did that Jesus Don't Want Me for a Sunbeam.
They done Jesus Christ pose.
Nice.
Quite.
Couple of grunge classics there.
that's the only jokes me and Jerry have got.
So that brings us on to I'm trying to see what
did you see fucking incredibly sidestep that you're not even expecting me to talk about? Did you see they're trying to get Nirvana to reform with Chad Kroeger as the lead singer?
Fuck off.
I'm not even like as in there is like NME articles and everything about it. I say NME, maybe
when you say they. Who are they?
The world.
Mossad
and the Russians. They thought, like, there's a couple...
you can understand it. I mean, it's clear that that's, it's not in Israel's foreign policy interest for Nirvana not to get back together.
Oh, no, you can also, for loads of reasons, nobody wants to find Nirvana if they're waiting for the Solomon's Temple to be rebuilt.
Kroeger? Is that a Jewish name?
Chad Kroger sounds like he may possibly be.
I don't know about Chad. Chad just sounds like a fucking average fucking drunk American at a fucking frat party.
Hey, Chad.
Chad Hogan.
Sounds like someone that I could probably drink under the table and take us to. And that's for any Americans that listen to us.
Then what are you going to do with him under there, Paul?
For any Americans who are listening, call Chad. Come at me, bro. Let's drink under the table. I got weird.
I'll have a go at that.
Aye, all right.
I mean the drunk guy under the table.
All right. I was just going to call you Chad for a whole night. Reunion. Look, Nirvana reunion with Chad Kroger.
But who wants that? Chad Kroger.
Chad Kroger's big on the idea.
Because I mean, I can't. Surely Dave Grohl doesn't want that.
Dave Grohl, and I'm not even. I don't know if we've spoken about this before, but I have told you. I think
Dave doesn't believe AIDS is real.
I did, or certainly didn't believe that AIDS is real. I don't know if he does now. There's one sure way to make him believe AIDS is real.
Make him fuck Chad Kroger under that table.
Well, I mean, we now I think you're suggesting that Chad Kroger's get AIDS, which is something I don't think we can guarantee.
I think he fucking needs AIDS.
That's tight. That
I'm not a fan.
What's Chad?
Fuck Nickelback, Bareback.
Kroger, Nirvana. I know this makes fucking awful radio, but I think this is worthwhile.
I'm not sure. Like,
there's a petition to reunite Nirvana with Nickelback's Chad Kroger. That's Maxim.com, NME.com. We found the one music critic who thinks Chad Kroger fronting Nirvana is a good idea. The NME, people are campaigning to, I don't know what people, they're absolute cunts, that's who it is. But see if I find out that that's Mossad and Russia. They can fuck with the elections all they want, but don't fuck with grunge. Right?
Don't fuck with the legacy of Nirvana, please.
Loudwire's reporting it, Metro's reporting it, Tone Deaf's reporting it, Billboard's reporting it.
How many
Alt Press
signatures does
it.
this petition have?
3.
3?
It has,
and it's the other members of Nickelback. They're like, yeah, get him to fuck.
It's only got 1.5 thousand current at this point in the article. Reported that they would go to that reunion. A further 4,000 people have posted themselves as interested, and I would be interested to see what happens. Like,
I wouldn't. I'd rather not. I mean, I tell you. Just off the top of my head, right? Nirvana were inducted into the Hall of Fame, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, like, I'm going to go away about 6 years ago, off the top of my head, because I remember watching videos. They got Kim for Sonic Youth to sing a tune or two with them. They got Lords, is that her name?
Lordy?
No.
It's Lord.
Yes.
Like the one that sings.
And we'll never be royal.
Yeah. I'm sure it's Lordy is her name.
Well, whatever. We got her to sing a tune with him, and they got some art cunt.
Would have made sense if they just get Eddie Vedder, to be honest. That would have.
Or Chad Kroger. Nah. But anyway, the point I was going to make was that everybody who sang, it was awful. It just didn't work.
Do you want me to upset you? So the only reason I would even consider doing this in our episode that we're recording is because I know that the Weekly Planet, another great podcast, but they're down in Australia, and they probably don't listen to us. They maybe do. It'd be kind of weird. They don't seem like right into politics in the UK. But anyway, I know we do worldwide, but they don't seem right into it.
We have a reasonably big listenership in Australia.
Well, maybe they do. If they do, guys, you're great. If you don't,
I think Australia might be our third biggest audience in the world.
I just can't imagine them listening though, but maybe I'm wrong. But anyway, they play a lot of their songs for their bits in between their sections from his mobile phone. Frank is the laziest motherfucker. It's the most Australian thing I've ever heard. Like, they've been doing this. They have the largest listenership of any podcast in Australia.
Too
and
easy.
They're just like, fuck it. That's how they talk.
Paddy Dyer? Which one?
Which one? The rich one. Which one? But this is a mashup of Photograph by Nickelback and Smells Like Teen Spirit by
How does
Nirvana.
Photograph go?
You're about to find out.
Like that bit.
Like that. So far it's mostly Nirvana, so it's quite good.
Yeah. I mean, politics and news, guys.
Like, this is more important. This is grunge.
Well, so far.
It's such a long intro.
No. Oh, that's such a bad line. Get them off. Fuck off, Chad, you cunt. Nah, Paul. Right. Nah. I hate Chad Kroger. And I really, genuinely do hope. No, I'm not going to.
No, don't do that. like, don't say we're quite as much bigger as you were going to say there. Like, it's not fine as long as we're doing sweeping, joking statements. But
yeah. And I don't. I don't really want him to have AIDS, but I do really want him to never be the singer of Nirvana in any circumstance. Actually, I'm going to go as far as to say that he shouldn't ever even be allowed to sing them at karaoke, just in case MD gets the wrong fucking idea.
But the thing is, whether or not it's a real thing that people want to push out, there does exist a scenario
No,
where
somebody did push him out. That's how he got here.
in the event it's real or not, it doesn't change the fact that there is multiple sources reporting on the fact that, and that's a danger, because people might get the idea that people want it and people might get behind it. We've seen this before, Jerry. We've seen this before with fake news. People get the idea, like, you know, that whole shit we talk about, seed, fertilizer, plant shit. Like, now it exists. Like, we're talking about it because it exists in articles.
Yeah.
Because it exists because somebody
someone
started that. Because someone planted the seed. And now there's a scenario where there's at least 1,500 morons that need a good hard slap.
We're now acting as the fertilizer.
No, I think you'll find Chad Kroger acts as a fertilizer.
Well, this is how you remind me about Brexit.
This is how you remind me of Brexit.
Yeah. So
can that be a section? can that become a section?
Are we going to start having jingles?
Jingles, man. Like jingles for a monthly rundown.
Are all of them going to be you singing Nickelback in a Vic Reeves club style?
This is how you remind me of Brexit.
You can't see the arm actions, but I guarantee you they were
we're properly going for it. It was cool. It wasn't cool. It was many things. But yeah, man.
But cool it was not.
Jingles for next monthly, like, do you think we can?
We'd have to record jingles though. We would have to have a modicum of musical talent.
I can play the piano.
Any more? Of course I can, but you couldn't before.
Me and Dr. Sayers here will record it.
Dr. Sayers. Dr. Sayers. Dr. Sayers. Dr. Sayers. Dr. Sayers. Who? Dr. Sayers.
By the way,
what?
See Falco Rock Me Amadeus.
You love that
I
song.
listen to it a lot. Like, a weird amount, considering that I don't speak a word of German.
Is it in German?
At least 70% of the song.
I think there's only about fucking 10 words in it, is there not?
The bits that aren't are they come and rock me Amadeus. Pretty much the rest of the song, like all the verses. Anyway,
me Amadeus. It's a good tune.
It's
not.
No, man. It's actually, see, the more you listen to it, like, I'm relatively confident that I've mentioned before that I look at Falco and I think to myself,
catchy.
He looks a bit like he might be a fascist.
Oh, fascist. I thought we were going to go paedophile or rapist.
No, that would be. Are we talking?
I'm still about Chad Kroger.
I was like, we had been talking about paedophiles and rapists for articles before we came in. Are we covering that? And this is anything?
No. I think those were just hideous slurs against individuals that we had decided looked like paedophiles.
You know that pedo look? Like, it's a look, it's a thing. You never see a paedophile in the newspaper and think to yourself, he doesn't look like a pedo.
He's such a good looking lad.
I bet he was quiet and dead kind.
So
anyway, that got a bit weird. So
Brexit.
So yeah.
So I've got written down here the People's Vote and Checkers and the Rebels. Which I don't know if that means we're supposed to sing the Wolf Tones or something mental.
Also, is Checkers, is that not the name of that radio DJ? Is that
Keith Chegwin?
Didn't they call him Checkers? Is he not a paedophile?
No. Libel, drink.
No, I said, is he not? It was a question. Like, I was genuinely asking you. Like, did he die or was he a paedophile? I knew it was in the news not so long ago.
No, he died.
And you know because you know how you play radio. Don't
get me wrong.
With radio hosts,
dying as a radio host does not necessarily preclude you from the idea of being a paedophile later on in the game.
No, because if you go by all the radio hosts that existed when we were growing up and we were quite young, you have to play the game of dead or paedophile because that's generally.
And if you get both, it's like house.
But
don't let them in your house.
No, never let them in your house because you'll discover it's lupus.
Brexit.
Okay.
So essentially, yeah, quite a few things have happened. I think at the beginning of our sustainability episode, we kind of touched on the fact that they had the Chequers meeting. Theresa May had sort of proposed a sort of insanely soft Brexit.
Limp brisket.
Limp brisket.
Limp brisket. No, that's a ruined bit of meat. Limp Brexit. Thank you.
And that had led to Boris Johnson resigning. We predicted a potential push for the Prime Minister's position, which we thought might have happened much sooner than not having happened at all.
But they're all on
2
holiday.
weeks later.
They're all on holiday.
They're all on holiday now. But just before the recess, Theresa did some quite interesting things. She basically demoted the Department for Exiting the EU massively and put her new reshuffled cabinet, which included quite a lot of favourable Remainer types from the party.
Jeremy Hunt, who called his Japanese wife Chinese. Called his Chinese wife Japanese. Please tell me you've seen this.
What?
So, Jeremy Hunt's wife is... I'm going to mix these two up, but the story still fucking stands. Essentially,
just the same as him, by the sounds of it.
Yeah, but essentially, Jeremy Hunt's wife is like Chinese, possibly. And when he was over,
I mean, no English or British person would marry Jeremy Hunt, surely.
So, but when he was over, like in China, he referred to her as being like Japanese. It might be the other way about, so it might have been she's Japanese and he referred to her as Chinese. But essentially,
so he was in China, so he lied about what she was to.
Well, he essentially got her race wrong. Now...
Deliberately.
Well, I don't know if it was deliberately, but he certainly got her race wrong.
You would hope, deliberately.
Well, I mean...
like, of the two scenarios there, one is that he doesn't know what his wife's race is. Two is that he deliberately lied about it in order to get some sort of positive feedback from the country. I think it was possibly
even in Paris that it happened, because he then tweeted out the next day how he was
Why
in
did
Paris.
He say she was French?
Because but the next day he was in Paris buying flowers, and he had tweeted like buying flowers while I'm in Paris, and somebody had posted underneath it saying, your Japanese wife or your Chinese wife that you're getting affair, you're going to need more than that. You're going to need more than flowers, pal. Which makes it excellent.
So what was the context of him?
I'm actually going to, I didn't realise I was going to talk about it. It's only when you were talking about the reshuffling of the cabinet that I remembered it, because it happened yesterday. So 3 days. So it happened in the last 3 days. So why Jeremy Hunt's Japanese wife gaffe is a bad mistake. The UK
His Japanese wife gaff.
He's fucking honestly, she decorated
paper walls and that, but it's in the UK and it rains all the time.
It's just like I can see through your walls hen.
Nice.
That's the most Glaswegian thing I think I've ever said before. Here, I can see through your walls hen. The UK's new Foreign Secretary, Jeremy Hunt, is on an official visit to China, but an embarrassing gaffe is stealing the headlines instead. Mr. Hunt tried to get in his host's good books by mentioning his wife is Chinese, but called her Japanese instead. Which, by the way, is a really difficult thing to do.
There's not the sounds, the mouth, like positions are totally different.
Oh, I've got a Japanese. Maybe it was overdubbed, like a Chinese
like
martial art
Bruce
movie.
Lee film. That's fucking.
He quickly.
Do you know what though?
He then quickly corrected himself, which made it worse because he was just like, my wife's Japanese. I mean Chinese. Do you know what I mean? How bad does that look?
I'm gonna. Oh,
terrible. In fairness, Jeremy Hunt has said.
You're not the first person to do that.
I know. Has said it's a terrible mistake to make. I did. You'll be sleeping on the couch for about a week, man.
And I hate myself for doing this, and I hope I never have to say these words again in my entire life.
Oh, don't you start defending Hunt.
In defence of Jeremy Hunt, It sounds like he was maybe just nervous and just like said something daft because he was like nervous.
Is that who we want as a foreign secretary? A man who goes in front of foreign people and then gets foreign countries mixed up when he's talking about people that he's close to because he's nervous?
Paul, I can 100% guarantee you that he is not the man that I want as the foreign secretary. And you can have that on the record. I don't want him anywhere near government, parliament,
He said,
local council,
actual quote.
or a school board.
So he was meeting with the foreign minister. Right, so he was meeting
I'd
with the
make him governor of the moon.
So he was meeting with the Chinese foreign minister, right? Now remember, his wife is Chinese, right? So all the words are already on the fucking paper in front of him, right?
But no,
he
but
said,
that sounds like it was chit chat.
no, but he said in English, my wife is Japanese.
Oh, I fucking would hope so.
Why? It would have been like
If he said it in Mandarin.
Well, if he said it in Mandarin, they could have said, "I was sorry. I'm just the word Chinese and the word fucking Japanese. I've not got this down yet." That's an easy save,
Yeah.
right? But instead, he said in his native tongue, "My wife is Japanese. My wife is Chinese. Sorry, that's a terrible mistake to make."
Maybe it was a wee joke. Maybe nobody gets his advanced surrealist sense of humour.
And he says that, him and Mr.
And that whole thing with NHS was just a big laugh.
So Wang Yi is the name of the foreign minister.
Right.
It turns out. So the thing is, he fucking speaks.
Wang Yi.
He fucking speaks Japanese as well, like Jeremy Hunt does. Even though his wife's Chinese, this is difficult, right? So, but he said he explained.
So glad you brought this story up.
He explained that him and Mr. Wang had spoke in Japanese at the state banquet. Before going on to say, my wife is Chinese and my children are half Chinese, so we have Chinese grandparents who live in Xi'an, Xi'an,
Aye.
Xi'an, and strong family connections in China. So he had that conversation weirdly in Japanese because he thought, fuck it. And then he said to him, my wife's Japanese, no, my wife's Chinese. Sorry, that was a terrible mistake to make. Like,
Maybe, but okay, so now I can even understand his thought process a bit further. He's talking in Japanese, so he's thinking.
no, because he said in English that. He said that in English though.
Yeah, but he had been talking Japanese.
But his wife, like, right, let's bring this back, right? Let's bring this.
See, to be honest with you, I'm amazed he has a wife.
I know, but let's bring this back. Let's say you introduced your wife as being from another European country.
What if it was Ireland?
What you're going to come? You're going to upset a whole shitload of people by saying that the connections between China and Japan are the same as between Northern Ireland and Southern Ireland? Because it's fucking no. It would be like if you possibly said something like, "This is my wife. She's from Spain."
Yeah, I suppose.
Oh, it's because we were talking Spanish earlier on.
I'm
so I
trying to
thought,
think. Is there any other countries in the world that end in E's apart from Japanese and Chinese?
I suppose
Taiwanese.
I would say Nepalese.
Yeah, okay, loads then. 4 at least. But Singaporeese, I think that's what you say.
Is that right?
Don't know. Try to think if there's any others off the top of my head.
I kind of want all of the South American countries to be it because Brazilians and Argentinians.
I
and
think
Hondurans.
it is quite limited. I think it's quite a niche thing.
I think it probably is confined to Asia, certainly South Central Asia,
Anyway,
that type area. Anyway,
he's a cunt, so fuck him.
no, I just find it funny that when we were talking about the reshuffling of the cabinet, the fact that the guy who is our
He
foreign,
reshuffled the nationality of his wife.
the guy who's the foreign secretary got put in front
Call
of.
that a genetic reshuffle.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's even a joke, but I liked it.
Oh, it's nasty. But genetic reshuffle sounds like a wank.
Actually, it's a thing that you can do in a game I play called Plague Inc. It's like a fucking like a mobile phone, or I think it's an iPad game.
Is a
where you have
game
to-
you're playing called Plague Inc. or Play Kink?
It's called Plague Inc.
Because a genetic reshuffle and Play Kink is completely different.
It's a different thing altogether. It's the premise of the game is that you have to distribute a virus around the entire world and kill everybody as quickly as possible. It's quite fun.
That's it's also part of the sociopath test. Don't know if that's connected, Jerry. But anyway, like you said, she's reshuffled the cabinet, and I think you were about to point out the fact that she is now taking control of the Brexit negotiations, and at least she is taking a more driving.
No, like she's
role.
basically
She is queen of Brexit.
Yeah, she's put it in her hands, and to me,
her limp grey hands.
Her limp grey. Imagine the shite hand job you'd get off of Theresa May. Sorry, that's awful.
We could probably ask Donald Trump.
Aye, probably.
Because there's that horrible picture of them holding hands, looking like.
It'd still be better than fucking his weird wee hands.
I thought you were going to say something about his wife or something like that. I thought that's where you were going to go. Don't.
What?
I'm just saying.
I wasn't going to say anything.
You probably were.
Look, I think I kind of feel that saying that about Theresa May was kind of sexist enough, to be honest. Like,
yeah, I mean, like, is it sexist to suggest you would get a shite hand job? Though?
No, I don't think it is. Like, I mean, you know,
like if it makes you feel any better, I think Jeremy Corbyn would give you a shite hand job as well. Like for balance.
Yeah, no, it would. He would definitely. I think like John Major is a guy, and he looks like he'd be a shite ride.
He does. That's fair play. Ed Miliband as well.
Terrible ride.
Fucking horror.
I've seen him eating bacon. Fuck knows what it looks like eating pussy. Anyway.
Oh, I get fucking horrendous.
Here. Oh, it just occurred to me. Ed
Miliband's Jewish.
Yeah.
It's probably why he looked off eating bacon.
Anyway, obviously, as Disney bored with the kosher lifestyle.
That's the first time they had a salty mouthful. Bacon, obviously. That's what I'm talking about.
Shite right. Anyway, so
shite PM, shite ride, David Miliband.
But yeah,
Ed Miliband. What was it? I just get stuck into David Miliband there for no reason. He's a better ride. Tell me that's what you're going to say. Apparently David Miliband's alright in bed.
I think if I was going to shag one of Miliband's, I'd definitely shag David.
Can we run this poll on Twitter for our Twitter followers? What
Hello,
Miliband?
David, who'd you shag?
No, what Miliband?
Oh yeah, which Miliband?
What Miliband would you shag?
Yeah, definitely. I'll put that up like the week that this goes out, and I'll keep it up there for a week, and we'll see who wins. I think it's a shoe in for David, surely.
Ed Miliband held more power though. People are drawn to power.
No.
People are drawn to power. Don't say no.
I mean, fine, but like, forget about his possession or anything like that.
I think his possession is all that you can think about in this scenario.
I'm just talking about whether he'd be a good rider, though. And this is for girls and boys.
Yeah, because like anybody could shag a Miliband.
That's what they say.
Plenty of people in Labour shagged him. But I mean shafted him, not actually had sex. Like,
right. So I'm going to try and say this for about the 10th time. It seemed to me to be a bit of an ultimatum, right? Because she'd done all of this fucking basically last minute. Seemed to surprise all the hard Brexiteers in the ERG group, which is kind of headed up by Rees-Mogg. And
our shite ride.
It seems to me like she's basically saying to them, we're going to go forward with my plan now. So you've got two choices. You either fucking put in the votes of no confidence and we have a leadership contest, or fucking shut up, put up or shut up, shit or get off the pot. Otherwise, this is what we're doing. Essentially, I guess their strategy may well just be to push for hard Brexit, no deal Brexit, which is looks like it could potentially be fucking horrendous, judging by all the reports of stockpiling, issues with medicines getting out of the country. I actually read a really good article that I'll post up about how a lot of the newspapers and the broadcast media referenced insulin as a potential issue, and I read a good sort of analysis of how genuine a problem that was. Turns out it's a genuine fucking problem.
I mean, the quantity of insulin that it goes through to the quantity of insulin that we have, to the quantity of insulin we can produce, to the quantity of diabetics that we've got, doesn't all match up. Like, the insulin has to come from somewhere.
Well, there's no human-based insulin manufactured in the UK.
Did we use pig insulin?
We manufacture pig insulin and another type of, I think, sheep insulin in the UK.
They call it
but I think
terrible.
like 99% of diabetes sufferers use human-based based insulin.
we actually
Or human
we
synthesized
actually now
insulin.
sound like an American advert for pharmaceuticals. 99% of insulins of diabetes use human insulin.
So we do not import any of that currently directly from the US. All of the human-based insulin that we use in the UK comes from the EU.
Coming over here, stealing the work of our pancreases.
Yeah, I mean, if we just had better fucking
Healthcare, food system, fucking management, diet and education.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, type 1 you can't blame people for, but type 2 is, like, preventable. You just need to... I mean, it's like a health and lifestyle thing. If you've got a better diet or a better... You know, if you're go to the gym more. I mean, obviously, people have their own issues, but it's something that can be managed without insulin if you get yourself to a sort of manageable weight and stuff like that. But for the most part.
But type 1 is the problem, like, because people are like, is it type 1 is the problem? That's when I was back a member of Public Enemy. But no, but like type 1 is the problem that they're going to have with insulin. I mean, I know that a lot of the news articles originally started playing it down. Certainly a lot of the alternative media articles online were just like, this is ridiculous. The army haven't even been drafted in yet. Like, oh, you're fucking right. Then. Like, we're not going to be living off fucking pickled cabbage for the next fucking year and a half, and fucking diabetics are going to be dying in the street. But fuck it, the army's not involved. Because obviously, if you remember, 6 months ago, possibly even longer than that ago, there was articles suggesting that the RAF were running emergency test drills or dropping food crates in fucking Cornwall or some shit.
Yeah.
And
up north,
that was suggested to be absolutely ludicrous that they weren't going to do that, and then roll it over to like the last 3 weeks, and they're just like, man, we're stockpiling like beans and shit. You know what I mean?
There was a government report that said, I think it was a civil service that said this is the, like, obviously absolute worst case scenario, but we are preparing for this, and this would be what was included in that scenario, and it included dropping off food rations to various parts of the country. Now, you would suggest that, like, I mean, they should be fucking preparing for the worst case scenario. Like, why would they not be?
Should we? As in, like, see, over the next, like, 5 months, would it make sense to spend an extra 20 quid on my shopping every month and just, like, stockpile some dry pasta and beans and stuff? Like, I live in Scotland. Like, you'd have to push hard for us to run out of water. Do you know what I mean? There's not going to be a problem with our water. But everything else, like, have you seen what happens when it snows for 3 days?
Yeah.
There's cunts fighting each other for loaves of bread in
bread
Tesco.
left in the shops,
like,
yeah.
There was no milk in Tesco and we're not sponsored by Tesco, unfortunately, but if Tesco want to sponsor us, it seems unlikely. But if Tesco want to sponsor us, I go for it. But other supermarkets are available.
In an apocalypse, every little helps.
I think that was the Asda, was it? No, Tesco.
No, it's Tesco.
Anyway, that group.
As does in an apocalypse.
In apocalypse, slap your ass.
I mean, it's not a bad strategy. Like, if you need an extra coin.
But the milk, there was no milk. But there was no milk for days. I mean, days and days and days. They didn't have any milk.
I went fucking out a wander through all the fucking blizzard and bought all the baby milk and fucking which wasn't that much left. But I bought all the fucking wee baby milk that my son was drinking at the time.
I'm so glad you said that. I think we were going to say and then sold it for profit down the pub.
Because
baby milk.
Because I might not have had any. You know what I mean?
Aye, but that's the thing. So and then, how do we, like? Is it something that we should viably start? I mean, the government are planning for it, and right now, as things stand, we have a no deal Brexit.
I think for me and you, we have that kind of not prepper because we're not fucking mental, but we have this sort of like. You should always have a bit of self-sufficiency about you. Like, you should... I keep a bag ready to fucking pick up and go in the event that I have to. Like, yeah,
well, like me, I've got... It's not like a silver clear. It's not like a bug-out bag. But I do have a bag that would be classed a bug-out bag. It has a full set. like no.
It's not a bug-out bag, but it's a bug-out bag.
No, but that's the thing. It's not a bug-out bag. It's a camping bag. But essentially, it's a bag that for 3 days
but
has
got weapons and food and
no,
stuff.
No. It's got food in it. It's got dried food but not like fucking mugshots and stuff like that. Stuff just to keep you going. That like
yeah.
So if somebody phoned me on Friday and said we're going camping all weekend, I know that my bag is ready. All the clothes are already washed in it. I've got the underwear and socks and tents and sleeping bags and everything all ready to go. And I also have, yes, my camping knife and my stove and stuff like that. But that's only because you need all them for camping. So I have that already ready.
Yeah, me too.
Like my mum's side of the family's clan motto is never unprepared. Nim can non-paratus. And
I was a Cub Scout.
so you were never untouched.
I was-
Is that another
I was
thing?
interfered with beyond belief.
But yeah, so it's like, but so maybe there's a part of me, and like the thing is, don't get me wrong as well. There's also a luxury type thing. Like I'm by no manner of means the richest man in Wishaw or anything, but at least I can afford to put an extra 20 quid away to be able to do it. And I know not everybody can. That's where the problem is. If you're already like, so imagine a scenario, and maybe some of our listeners are even in this case, but imagine a scenario where like you are a nurse who is working lots and lots of hours and is having to use a food bank to be able to survive. And you're now being told that as things stand right now on essentially the first,
Of April
the first, it's not the first,
2019. Yes, it is.
the first of April 2000. No, I mean like right now. Like,
All right.
Actually, Dave's going to say today is not the first. Holy shit! Oh no, what's happened to my life? But no, it says it turns out so like the 1st of August. Is it the 1st of August?
Today?
Yeah. Like is
No, that was yesterday. It's the second today, it must be. Don't gotta watch one.
no, because there's.
We did the show. Oh no, we did
No,
the show on the
I was going to say
31st. This is the first, yeah.
Aye, so today's the first, right? So
No, it says the second on my calendar.
it says second of mine as well, but it's definitely the first because
No. You know why it does?
Why?
Because it's after 12, mate.
I know, no, I know, but that's what I mean. Even in that,
So it says the second because it's just after 12. So it was the first yesterday when we started recording.
was it the first on Tuesday?
Yeah. No, Wednesday. This is Wednesday. It's now Thursday.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway,
Top listed chaps.
I get mental there. It's because I'm looking at my watch, and my watch obviously went to 31. So when I looked at it earlier on, I just feel like.
Why, obviously? There's 31 days in July.
Oh no, it's just not ticked over to 2 yet. It's still sitting at 1, but it's like halfway across. Totally, because it's just dead on 12 o'clock right now. It totally fucked me there. I was broken in my head for 2 minutes. Like, I kept on looking at my watch, it's like, no, somebody's lying to me. It's either Jerry, my laptop, or this watch that's mechanised and has no way to be able to be right or wrong. Anyway, so say right now on the 1st of August in 2018, you're sitting as a nurse who's on a food bank who doesn't have nice, who uses food banks and stuff like that to survive. Like, you're looking at right now as things stand, there is no deal. We have no deal, and the deal that we put forward was turned away, which we all knew was going to happen because it didn't contain enough.
Because we've done fuck all about the Irish border.
We've done fuck all about the Irish border, and it had nothing about free movement of people.
Here's another thing, by the way, which we
All
haven't spoke about.
Well, just quickly, just to the end of that was just, so how do you perceive what the world's going to be? I mean, how do you stock up? How do you prepare for that?
I've spoken to quite a lot of intelligent people. Like, so the other day, my mate said to me, I was thinking about buying some sort of weapon just in case of no deal Brexit. And like, he's not a maniac or a complete idiot. Like, I consider him an extremely intelligent person, and he was like being completely serious when he said that to me.
Should have told him to get like a sand buggy and fucking weld fucking spikes on it.
He was also saying that he'd been, I think it might have been James O'Brien or certainly somebody on LBC on a phone, and he'd been listening to, and somebody had been like, oh, you know, there was all of this fucking nonsense about the millennium bug as well, and then, you know, nothing actually fucking happened, nothing went wrong. And then somebody else would phone in and went, yeah, but I worked in Millennium Bug compliance, and there was actually quite a lot of work that went in there to make sure that nothing went wrong. Like, we made sure that everything was covered and it was all fixed and sorted so that everything would be fine. So that's why. You know what I mean? But whereas it doesn't seem like we've got anything done yet. We're like no further forward than we were when we voted for it. What I was going to say was, just briefly as an interjection, we've never spoken in the podcast about Gibraltar. it
Right.
has similar fucking issues to Northern Ireland, which have barely been discussed
And
in
nobody's
terms of the border.
And nobody's talking about the fact that essentially there's the argument between, is it going to be British owned or Spanish owned?
Well, we're not going to give up Gibraltar.
Why? Because it's tactical usefulness to us now in 2018.
Yeah.
Cool. It just seems. Well, put it this way: something's going to have to happen.
It's just a big military base, really. Gibraltar, like in a lot of ways, it's like a staging point. It's a runway. It's right into Africa and stuff, and the Iberian Peninsula, obviously.
We got tasty ham.
But to me, anyway, as I was saying, it seems like an ultimatum by Theresa May to, either do something or don't, because this is the Brexit we're going forward with, and if you want a different one, you're gonna have to get rid of me.
Suck it. That's what she said.
Yeah.
I believe.
And then she gave everyone.
A shitty hand job.
I wasn't gonna say that, Paul. That's sexist.
Sorry.
So yeah, I think that's where we're at with Brexit, which kind of, in the middle of all of that craziness, we had a wee visit for a wee guy with wee hands called Donald J. Trump. J stands for genius, apparently.
I can imagine.
Very stable.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, he came over and he was in
holding hands with folk.
He was in London. He came up to Scotland.
He got a warm reception.
There was lots of protests, right? And while I'm anti-Trump in every sense, I suppose. I was going to qualify that, but there isn't really any need to. But I am anti-Trump, and I don't believe in anything that he stands for, really. But it does bother me that as a nation, we were able to mobilise such a large amount of protesters for the visit of a foreign head of state, and yet we're incapable of mobilising any sort of reasonable protest for any of the fucking various issues that are affecting this country.
It's almost like
every day
the media have got the people of the UK entirely complacent to the way that they operate on a day-to-day basis, but a wee bit of social media and a wee bit of media pushed in the right direction, and people get riled up behind any cause. Just saying.
But there's so many things that we should like.
Aye,
why are we not?
we spoke about.
Why is there no a big protest? Why are we not marching on Westminster about fucking electoral fraud and fucking complete illegalities surrounding the referendum in the first place, the campaign, the funding of it, Aaron Banks' fucking dodgy as fuck shit, all of that. Nothing's happening.
People will say things. We watch it happen on our Facebook page. People will say things.
What about
like,
George Soros, the hungering billionaire?
It was one of the best replies, and then when you replied just like, sorry, I don't know who you're talking about, and then I was like, I'm going to have to qualify this because the guy's quite clearly talking. I think you're talking about George Soros, the Hungarian billionaire.
No, George Soros, the hungering billionaire.
George Soros, what are the scores?
How could he be hungering if he's a billionaire?
Because he only eats his money and it has no sustenance at all.
Well, scores the doors, George Soros.
It's that's actually not how I was going to talk about. I was going to talk about with the Aaron Bank stuff. People will say things just like, "When will you Ramoners just give up?" Oh no, we're talking. The guy's selling guns illegally, fucking buying gold mines with the Russians. He's a fucking criminal. Let's take Brexit out of this for a second, and let's say this man is pumping illegally attained money into the British government because they fund parts of agenda that matches up with his agenda.
Let's suggest that we don't know for a fact that it is illegally obtained, but we should have full transparency of that. He has donated, according to a report that I read today, 9.97 million in total to various campaigns, included Grassroots Out, Leave.eu, No, I don't think he gave them any money.
Grassroots.
No, Leave.eu gave money. It was Vote
Grassroots
Leave.
out.
Grassroots out. UKIP and various others. 9.97 million in total in loans, goods, and donations.
Stop being a fucking Ramoner, Jerry. What about George Soros?
George Soros.
What about George Soros, Hungarian Prince? Or whatever the fuck? I think I read that book. But,
I think I read that to my boy.
yeah, it was the next Harry Potter. George Soros and the Hungarian Prince. But what about him? I mean, like, obviously he's an issue, but we also know where all his fucking money comes from. And not all his money, but we know where most of his money comes from, and he's very transparent about what he donates to. So it's not the same as the guy that we don't know where his money's came from, and he keeps secret what he's been donating to. And he also definitely has the ear of a few governments around the world. We know that to be fact because we know his business.
He's a resident of Belize. He also, he runs about with Farage. He runs about with
in a Corsa.
He runs about with Bannon. Like he.
But that's a smelly Corsa. Oh, the smell of Bannon Farage.
There's a photo of Banks, the day after Trump won the election in a gold-plated fucking lift with Farage and Trump. That's the level he's operating at. He has access to people with a large amount of power, and he's contributing nigh on 10 million to the Leave campaign. And nobody knows where the monies came from. We should at least know that. There should at least be a criminal investigation to try and determine where it's came from, especially when there's very serious allegations against him of drug running, of bribing the Lesotho government.
Gun running as well.
I said gun running.
I thought you said drug running.
No, gun.
Probably drugs as well. Can't be sure.
Libel, drink.
I said probably.
Well, there's...
It's probably libel.
Yeah.
Is it? Are you sure?
Yeah.
Take my chances. The guy's dodgy as a motherfucker.
I'm not saying I wouldn't be surprised, but there's absolutely no evidence to suggest that. And I want to be very clear about that. So, Trump came over, apart from the fact that no one's protesting other things that they should be. It's good in some ways that Trump's been protested because he's a horrible fucker in many of his policies. And I think he's not doing the world or political discourse any favours, really. He's normalising the idea that the fucking US head of state should be using Twitter every day to air his grievances. But one of the interesting things about him coming to the UK was it gave us in the UK perhaps a much closer inspection of his media interactions, and I've sort of read a lot about how he works in terms of his media interactions in the US. But it was the first time I'd kind of seen it up close through the press that I'm more familiar with, which is the UK press. So on the morning of his meeting with Theresa May, there was an interview published that I think he'd done the night before with the Sun. It was a Sun exclusive, and it was actually a fucking massive coup for them to be able to sit down with Trump.
Every time you say that, I just imagine this giant cow. Oh my God, there's a massive coup.
But I think if you read Fire and Fury, it's fairly obvious how it's happened, because he fucking craves the respect of Rupert Murdoch like fucking practically no other man in the world. He wants...
Who does? T-Dog? The POTUS?
Aye, that cunt. So he did the interview, and in the interview he said things like, I advised Theresa May how to do Brexit. She's not doing it how I would have done it. She's doing it wrong.
I think he was talking about breakfast.
Quite possibly. He looks like he does breakfast very differently for Theresa May.
I advised Theresa May how to do breakfast. She done it wrong. See, if you think about it, that makes much more sense.
Theresa May looks like for breakfast she eats a bowl of noodles made from grey knitting wool,
or just
and the souls of dead children.
I would like sand and some of the milk Margaret Thatcher stole in a bowl, please.
With some of the wheat from the field that I ran through.
Whereas I'm pretty certain Donald Trump just eats a bucket of butter.
I think that like 2 Big Macs
dipped in butter, like with butter sauce. But he said that he told her.
Could be all right.
I've washed breakfasts. I really have. So he said that he told her to do breakfast. He also said that Bojo would be a sweet Prime Minister. He didn't say it like that. But essentially, he said Boris Johnson would be a great Prime Minister.
Yeah. And the context of that is it was like fucking 2 or 3 days after he'd resigned. And yeah.
I mean, and he also said essentially that Theresa May has fucked up Brexit, the UK.
Yeah.
Brexit, the UK.
And the US trade deal's off.
And yeah.
Or potentially off. I can't remember if he said it was definitely off or potentially off. He said it was going to be bad for US trade deal.
I did. He said something.
Bad, very bad.
It's going to be bad for US trade deal, I think is actually what he said, which was grammatically was horrendous to both read and see.
So seems authentic.
So you can always tell. I actually also think he said it like this. It will be bad for trading because everyone his tweets are in like capitals, and it just makes it seem like he's screaming like a madman all the time.
Especially when he's talking to the Iranian president.
Yeah.
So
who doesn't use Twitter because it's banned in the country? But anyway, let's not talk about that.
Following up from that, he then appeared
the next day.
The same day that the interview was published.
Yeah.
The morning he was then standing in a press conference next to Theresa May being asked questions about it, and he was like, "No, that's fake news." I didn't say that.
It's not even fake news. It's recorded news. You fucking lunatic. We can actually hear you say it.
But who knew that journalists and lawyers record conversations? So yeah, essentially he said, "I didn't say that. That's fake news. That's not true. The trade deal's very much on. Theresa May's doing a great job."
Did you see the creepy bastard tell the guy to take the hat off because he liked his hair? That was also Trump with a person who was interviewing.
I can understand Trump having hair to be fair. But yeah, so, and then the Sun released the tapes of the interview and went, "Well, this is you saying all of the things we've said you said." So, obviously, it's a fucking great example of him doing this whole flip-flop thing of saying one thing, then saying something else. What's true? What can you believe?
But we don't have any other evidence of that. It's not like the week later or a few days later, it was... I
think it was literally 2 days later.
And he was talking to Putin.
Yeah, so in front of the world, he stood in front of Putin and said, US intelligence have got it wrong. Putin's told me it's not the Russians. I believe him.
Putin was just...
Why would he lie to me?
Trump was just... See if you got hurt with like a virus, for example, at work, for example.
AIDS?
Right? I very much like AIDS. Right, fuck man, to be honest, it may have been better that way. And... The company in question who has encrypted your files had said to you something like...
Company?
Well, the virus company. You know? Stephen,
the hackers.
Stephen, his Virus Emporium, had said to you, "We'll decrypt this for you, but you have to give us the money up front." See, believing that because you've given them money up front, so they say they'll decrypt it for us. That's essentially the same as the Trump scenario with Putin.
Putin told me, didn't it?
It's just like, Putin, did you hack me? No, I didn't hack you. That's good enough for me, dude. Like,
Niet.
I just looked at him with fucking disdain and punched a bear to death. Like, I imagine that's what Putin does in any time that he's been questioned.
Bet he'd be a good ride.
Aye, man. Well, I'd give you the honey that fucking dreams already.
So fuck me. So don't Putin. What was I going to say?
That you don't want to fuck Putin. That's actually what this whole bit was about.
No.
So what we were saying was essentially he said that the Russian, the intelligence agency was wrong, and Putin says it's all good and I wouldn't do that. And then the next day again,
he went home to the US
and said that's not what I meant.
I misspoke.
I meant to say the intelligence agency were right, and Russia did it.
Yeah. And it was obviously like the Russian government had done it. But then later in the same press conference, they said it could have been anyone.
But it could have been. But then a few days later again, he then tweeted and said, at the by-elections or whatever elections, is the by-elections that are coming up? Yeah.
I don't know.
Midterm elections.
Midterm,
in the midterm elections that are coming up, Russia are probably going to try and hack them, but it won't be in benefit to me.
Oh yeah, man, I need to pull up that tweet because it was fucking absolute gold. But yeah, I mean, essentially, he keeps doing this, and it's like, to me, it's something like a strategy. It's something that we're aware of, and I think we've spoke about on the pod before in terms of like Vladislav Surkov and how this is something that happens in Russia, about how it's the modus operandi, or certainly it's in the thinking and the theory of
He's like
Alexander Dugin.
It's like be a tree in the wind. Never been the one play. Also because he's an interpretive dancer and he's just like be a tree in the wind anyway. That's his go-to.
Do the flip-flop thing. You can't be pinned down if they don't know exactly what you think. And it also works as a dog whistle because the people, especially because of the polarised partisan nature of American politics, the people who are supposed to get the message, like someone who only ever watches Fox News is only going to get the side of that story that they're supposed to get.
The anti-Russia...
Is that,
I'm trying to remember.
Anti-US intelligence.
Yes, the anti-US intelligence, kind of pro-Russia. There was no hacking done. Everything's cool. And then they'll also get shown the tweet that says they're going to hack the mid-elections and it's going to be against Trump. And then those watching CNN, for example, will get fed the other side of it. Where it'll be like the intelligence agencies were right. And Trump did, and Putin did hack us, and they won't see the other stuff regarding the mad shit that he tweets because unless he uses social media, but that's how they keep him split, and then nobody really knows what Trump thinks, and then people will madly vote for him.
Yeah, exactly, and it's if you're always changing what you're saying and saying one thing then the other, it's difficult to know what you're fighting against necessarily. Now
the problem is we've got these ideologies come from
Russia.
Yeah, but there's what's his name that you were talking about a minute ago? Because I can't remember. Because I always
Dugin, Alexander Dugin.
No.
Vladislav Surkov.
Yeah, so Surkov and Dugin both kind of prescribe to these. Like subscribe to these mindset, and they have also been advisors to Russia and Russian Kremlin government type scenario certainly for Dugin from the mid-90s in some format or another, and then moving a bit later on for
Vladislav Surkov.
It's getting late, Jerry. And but the thing is, we know that Bannon, our boy,
as a kind of follower
of this methodology,
of
and this,
Dugin,
but essentially
of his philosophy.
Now the thing is, there's like I'm still in the process of reading a book by Dugin at the present moment. He's a bit mad. The problem is he does stuff the same as what's the guy I hate from Canada?
Trudeau?
No.
Jordan Peterson.
Yes.
That cunt.
So he does the same as Jordan Peterson, which is he takes universal...
Intellectual fraud, Jordan Peterson.
Yeah.
Professional intellectual fraud.
If he would like to listen to our show, if anyone knows him who listens to our show, let him hear our show. He can happily come on the show.
I'll interview him.
Because he'll not have as sweet a time as he gets off other people. Right, so we're clear. The guy, because what he does is the same as what like Dugin does, which is in his book he laces universal truths and obvious statements in amongst madness, facts and lies and untruths, and then what it does is it sells his belief system. So fucking Peterson.
Oh yeah, I can agree with that. Oh yeah, no, that totally makes sense.
Yeah,
no, that's a good point. Oh, what?
It's just so we
lobsters?
we have to be looking at the way that the social welfare is being dished out, and we have to have better under school for education systems, and we have to look at the way that food's being dished out, and also women treat men particularly badly in 2018, and men are being set aside because of transgender issues. Well, you started saying words there at the end that weren't the same as we should look at the social benefits in countries, and that's what he does. He gives you things that you agree with, says outlandish bollocks, and I hope he hears this. I want him to understand how much disdain I have for him. He's a pseudo-intellectual. He sells himself as something that he's not, because people think that because he worked at a university, like, you all know to work in a university, you just have to essentially get a degree. Then you can, as long as you've got a degree, you can then go through the process to becoming a lecturer at university. You don't have to actually know how to do a thing. You just have to know how to say you know how to do a thing.
He's making a lot of money out of Virgin men.
Incels, you know what I mean? Essentially, he's fucking telling them, like, the reason that women don't love you has got nothing to do with the fact that you're socially inadequate and you smell and you also treat women like shit and you're really terrible at social interaction in general and you're really shite at eye contact and words and generally being a human. The reason they don't like you is because they expect too much from a man. No, dude, man, go for a bath, have a shave.
Like, I think...
Stop being covered in, like, coming on it. You're a fucking... Get out your mum's basement, get a bit of light about you. Stop fucking being covered in Dorito dust and fucking Mountain Dew, you freak. That sounds terrible. But I mean,
I
it's
think in fairness, like, some of the stuff that I've heard them speak about is about personal responsibility and about trying to say to young men, in inverted commas, that you need to take responsibility for your own actions and the things that you have control of in your life.
But that's the stuff that he says, that he interweaves with all the madness because you can't disagree with it.
To me, Jordan Peterson is a Christian fundamentalist, is what he is. And if there's so much of his thinking and what he says that goes back to the Bible and imagery and stories and how these are universal truths.
I think he's a crispy, funny mentalist.
Quite good, I like that part. Yeah, not a fan of Peterson's.
No, not at all. Not at all. Actually greatly dislike him. But like that, what I was getting to the point there with Alexander Duggan is what he does is he interweaves truths. Like he interweaves truths about things like left-wing politics and right-wing politics and central politics and how they all match up and where they've been, and you're just like, oh, of course that's right. And then he just like, and then if you fucking destroy the West, and it's like, whoa, we got a bit deep in there fucking fast, you mad bearded Russian, like, chill. But that's what he does, and that's where the problem lies. So and then you can sell it to people who are easily swayed.
Yeah. And
then when you've got someone as dangerous as Bannon, who is now king of the right in the whole of Europe because it went a bit pear-shaped for him when he was king of the right in America and him and Trump fell out. So he's now moved over here to do the same thing. And in doing so, because he is a student of this type of methodology and this type of teaching, he's a very, very dangerous man because of that.
I agree. Yeah, 100%. It's warning. And, you know, and Bannon's so involved with so many of these people, and with Farage and Mercer, with Cambridge Analytica, who he was the vice president of. There's a lot of money kicking about potentially that from people who care very deeply about pushing right-wing agenda worldwide. Mercer will be throwing money at this shit.
Well,
so
that's the thing.
We should be concerned about it.
Do we not think it's weird and convenient that the guy who was one of the key members of getting Breitbart News to where it got to, who is a good friend of Robert Mercer, who's the background for a lot of this stuff, including funding Trump, who is on the board of directors at not just Cambridge Analytica, but other affiliates of Cambridge Analytica and subgroups that they've developed now. So that's who he is as a person. And now with all the stuff that happened with the fallout with Brexit and Trump and the Mueller investigation and the stuff that happened in the UK where they started all the investigations in various formats into the different funding and the illegal activities, he's now stepped into the public eye and he started operating within the middle of Europe to take a different angle to be able to push the same agenda, and because his agenda, because he can't use the same methodology he was using because essentially that's been found out. So he's now a public speaker, fucking... He's the figurehead. Have you seen him? He looks like someone dug him up after he died 4 months ago.
I think anybody who I've heard speak about him who's had direct contact with him, despite their political leanings, despite the fact that they might be like on the left wing or whatever else, people like Chris Wiley I've heard speak about Bannon, or Michael Wolff in his book, who obviously don't agree with the sort of Trumpian populist ideologies that Bannon's pushing, all say that he's a very charismatic, engaging and intelligent person.
That's the problem. I believe that the reason that he got to where he got to and the reason that he's still doing what he's doing is because all evidence points to the fact that he's a very good public speaker. He's very good at raising emotion, and yeah, he's very, very likeable, and certainly a one-on-one or a small group. There was this other guy, he kicked about Germany. You would describe him in the same way. He was charismatic. He was right good at public speaking. He was good at riling people up. He ran about with a lot of crowd for the far right. Things didn't go particularly well.
Lazy comparison, Paul.
It depends what I was talking about. I didn't
Was he Lothar Matthäus, was it?
I was talking about Luther Vandross.
Oh, right. Never knew he hung about Germany.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I mean...
But
Bannon's prepared to stand on a platform next to Marie Le Pen, stand up on a platform with the Italian far right as well, you know. So
I mean, but that's what I'm getting at. The point is that he is very charismatic and very likeable. And if you take a very charismatic...
I never said likeable.
No, to the right people.
Yeah.
And he is very good at his public speaking and his... getting people to feel like they're accepted into a particular scenario. And if you take that man and then you give him...
I think he genuinely believes the stuff he says as well.
Possibly. But if you take that man and you give him people like who are incel and all the other things, people who feel disenfranchised from the rest of the world and who are looking for a cause, a reason for them to be so weird and awkward and different and not loved by the general world and they don't understand the world, if you give them that man who is now doing it, that's a dangerous world that we're stepping into, because like I said, he is, although he might believe it, I also firmly believe that as a student of Dugin, he understands very well the processes and the power of words and manipulation and
misinformation.
Yeah, so he might believe it, but he also will say things that he doesn't believe at the right time to be able to convince people. And we've literally been speaking about Bannon since like the first episode.
Pilot episode, yeah.
And
when I was calling him Shawnee B.
Aye. And even since the days when he went, even like Puff Daddy, back when he was merely Shawnee B, before he took up the name, the bloated scabby Bannon that he
Jake,
is
if
now.
his big fat pal gets assassinated, then it'll fucking thrust him even further into the public spotlight.
Don't know, has he got a big fat pal, like a big orange faced fat pal, can he? That might get assassinated. The
notorious WIG.
Beautiful.
Thanks.
But anyway, he's dangerous, and what we are stepping into now, I don't believe there's much chance to step back from now. Like, this is going to run its course. There is no one on the opposing political platform.
I think that's a dangerous attitude to take. Like, I think something has to be done.
Yeah, something does have to be done. But what I'm saying, but right now, as things stand at this time and day, right now, there is no one on the opposing political platform that is able to go toe to toe with this guy, able to tackle it, and able to rally the people around him, and able to garner the support. There is no one. Like,
What he has in his favour, Bannon, is that he has authenticity. He certainly appears authentic to the average schmuck on the street. If you'll forgive the sort of fucking Jewish phraseology there.
I want to see him on Question Time on with Akala.
Well, that's it. Like, but that's what I mean. Like, Akala always comes across, or somebody like fucking like Darren McGarvey. A month or two ago was on Question Time. Loki, the Scottish rapper, and he comes across as very real and genuine, and you can see the way that the crowd react to him in comparison with genuine politicians is a totally different thing.
And I think when Bannon does get put up against politicians and newsreaders,
he'll wipe the floor in because
he has a level of charisma on top of a level of education and understanding and
bite.
Yeah. So
whereas a professional career politician often don't want to come across as you know, they don't want to stoop down to his level and be insulting or speaking in as aggressive a manner as he might.
I think you would see two different sides with the two different people that were suggested. I think that he would find himself much less willing to be the nasty kind of aggressive way that he does when people are beating him against like Loki. I very much doubt that he would be willing to do that because.
But
I mean, like
but
that's what I mean. Like, there's a good example of the two different ways it can go. In that case, I don't believe he would sit down with the belief that he's going to intimidate Loki, and that means that he loses a function of his process that he uses when he's doing these things. Akala, I would believe it would be different because I believe that he is more calm and collected than pretty much anybody that ever finds their way in front of Bannon. I don't think he would be able to hand it. It would actually make it slightly better because Akala's also black, and that would cheer me up no end.
Yeah, it would be amazing. It would be a
great thing. And see if it came down to it, I think Akala probably punch his cunt in and all. I mean, so like I know I'd put money on that.
He does mixed martial arts and that.
I think that wouldn't matter. I think he would viciously just punch.
I mean, I think anybody could batter Bannon, to be fair, but
like the last thing that Bannon battered was a sausage. Do you know what I mean? Like that's a chip shop joke for those not in Scotland. For me, should have said Mars.
And we've spoken about this before. Whatever, it's grand. I think sausage was good. So most folk, like more people get sausage.
But the battered Mars bar thing.
More people do get sausage.
You know I mean? People get sausage. 50%. That's not even true. No even. Maybe it is true.
We've spoken about before the fact that I think we both probably think the left's crying out for just a good leader to sort of rally people behind him.
Bearded Scotsman, maybe.
And I think you're nah.
You said a good leader. Sorry.
I think like probably a working class hero type, you know.
That's what I said.
But I think the left's crying out for that sort of character, somebody who is going to be able to get people on board with kind of socialist ideals in a way that people can relate to. I don't think people feel that they can relate to the majority of politicians nowadays, and that's the big gap that needs to be bridged on our side of the argument in order to progress.
Well, I spent days studying them, and I don't believe that I can. I mean, I don't believe that any of them understand living in the real world.
No.
I mean, in Scotland, if you take something like Labour, right, I don't think, honestly, that I could list 5 active members of the Labour Party, and I know one of them, right? But then further than that, I actually know 2 of them, and I still don't think I could list 5 active members of the Labour Party in Scotland.
I know 3.
But further than that...
And you do too. Personally.
Lanark, Wisha and who?
Another Wisha-based one who was Frank Roy, our previous MP's assistant.
Oh, yeah, okay. But yeah, so... But even at that, I still don't recognise... But I certainly couldn't point out...
He ran as a councillor here as well. I don't know if he might have won for all I fucking know.
I don't think I could recognise 10 on the street. You know what I mean? Like... And that's Labour. That's the party of the people. You know what I mean? That shouldn't be the case. And that's in Scotland. There only is, 6 million is? No even. Is it? 5 point something?
5.5. 5.6, I think.
So... And we are from a Labour stronghold. You know what I mean? Every single person in here should know every single Labour member, and they're nothing. They're totally irrelevant.
Labour haven't won it the past 2 elections, though.
I know, but
but you're right. It's Labour stronghold. But I'm just for people who don't know the area, it's important to give that information.
But yeah, so I mean, so they are in a small environment. That's where politics are at the present moment. Like there's a handful of politicians. Mary Black being one, who absolutely 100%. There's your working class hero.
If Mary Black was a Labour politician, she'd yeah.
If Mary Black was a Labour politician, Mary Black would be able to run for and probably become Prime Minister by the time she's about 35.
Yeah, but I mean, I am biased because I'm a big fan of Nicola Sturgeon, but I think if Nicola Sturgeon was in the Labour Party, she potentially could go far because I think she, like I could see her. I mean, when you saw her debating against like Farage and stuff, a lot of the other politicians, they were quite standoffish with him and didn't want to. Like she was quite happy to get stuck in and roll her eyes at him and speak to him like he was a fucking idiot and a racist because he's an idiot and a racist. Whereas I think a lot of politicians are scared of being perceived as being aggressive. She's got that sort of wee bulldog bitey mentality, which also makes a lot of people not like her.
Do you think we could get Mary Black to debate against Steve Bannon? I
would love that.
I think she'd punch his cunt in.
I'd like to see her fight Akala.
That'd be a decent fight. I don't know who'd win, but I reckon if we were fighting Steve Bannon,
I'd love to interview Mary Black.
If Mary listens, which personally I think is probably a fucking miracle, but in the off chance Mary Black does listen, or even if you know her, because there's people who definitely listen to us for Paisley. See if you know her, ask her to listen. We will love to do an interview with her. We've got a lot of love for her, and also might try and get her canned up in a couple of cans of super and go to fight Steve Bannon. That'd be quality. I'll get it on YouTube. That'd be good to see.
Right, so that's Bannon. That's Bannon in the far right. That's Trump.
Far wrong. Can we not call them the far wrong?
We should call them the far wrong because they are far wrong. We have talked about Trump's visit and the flip flops and the doing this and doing that.
Trump visits and his flip flops.
Oh, I never quite got round to reading out the tweet that you'd referenced about the Russia thing. He said this is just after going to Russia, saying, "Nah, Putin's cool. He told me he was cool. So no, I said that wrong. Yeah, he's a dick." He then said, "I'm very concerned that Russia will be fighting very hard to have an impact on the upcoming election. Based on the fact that no president has been tougher on Russia than me, they will be pushing very hard for the Democrats. They definitely don't want Trump," which sounds like it was written like by a Russian troll. That's ridiculous.
It's just like, well,
I'm gonna. And do you know what the prior tweet to that was? The directly previous tweet was just in capital letters, "I am in the toilet." No. Worse. "Make America great again."
Was it actually?
Actually, just tweeted.
Was
that.
The one after that just "I love lamp"?
It's like ridiculous, man. The fucking level of fucking political discourse is just fucking being dragged into the gutter, man.
Do you want to see the face I make when I see a jelly snake? I can't imagine that's the type of guy that he is. You know what I mean?
He's a freak.
So, have we covered everything? Is that us?
No. We've got a couple of wee things to do.
Oh, have we? You know, it's 1:45 in the morning.
Mm-hmm. Not much. Only
I've got work to do.
We've basically got two things. So, one of them is Trump today. Not long before we started recording or started talking about recording, before we watched the football, was
which we shouldn't have watched because it was dreadful. But anyway, it was.
It's rubbish, but.
No, but don't start going on about it. We watched it. It was rubbish. Right? What did Trump say?
I'm trying to find the fucking tweet now. It was a belter.
"I'm watching a monkey on TV." Nah.
It's not deleted it, has he?
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Oh, no. No, he fucking has. No, he hasn't. I lied. So, basically in a series of 3 tweets asked for the Attorney General, Jeff Sessions, to call off the Mueller investigation. The third tweet specifically says that he should do that. I'll just read the 3 of them out to you. It'll be easier. So it starts with Russian collusion with the Trump campaign, one of the most successful in history, is a total hoax. Capital letters. The Democrats paid for the phony and discredited dossier, which was, along with Comey, McCabe, Strzok, and his lover, the lovely Lisa Page. You could he has to fucking. It's a woman.
Is that his lover, the lovely Lisa Page?
Yeah.
Is that her full name?
Yeah, I don't know.
So her parents called her the lovely.
I don't know if she's like
middle name Lisa,
a WWE wrestler.
The lovely
Lisa Page
entering the ring weighing 200 pounds. She's a big lass.
The lovely Lisa Page. Lovely Lisa Page used to begin the witch hunt. Disgraceful. Paul Manafort worked for Ronald Reagan, Bob Dole, and many other highly prominent and respected political leaders. He worked for me for a very short time, 6 months, and he was the leader of your campaign.
Didn't say that in the tweet.
No. Why didn't government tell me that he was under investigation?
Government, just Mr. Trump, I'm government. I'm here to tell you, everyone who works for you is a fucking criminal.
These old charges have nothing to do with collusion. A hoax. This is a terrible situation, and Attorney General Jeff Sessions should stop this rigged witch hunt right now, before it continues to stain our country any further. Bob Mueller is totally conflicted, and his 17 angry Democrats that are doing his dirty work are a disgrace to USA!
So, first and foremost, notice how all these tweets end with capitalised letters. That's important.
An exclamation mark.
Also, Mueller and the 17 disgruntled fucking Democrats was one of my favourite Disney movies.
Hi-ho, hi-ho.
Soft to impeach we go.
I can't
Whistling
whistle a
works
tune.
great on through a microphone, through headphones and through the podcast. Glad you done that.
Thanks, Eva.
You whistle inwards when you're whistling into a microphone.
I can't even whistle outwards
Can you not?
properly. I mean, I can whistle out. I can go, but I can't really do it in tune. And you can Paul. Kidding on.
I quite clearly can.
Aye, I'm
That
joking.
was me and Julio down by the schoolyard. My Paul Simon. Just
And
what I would like to see
next for you.
next to you, we're going to do a little number by Nirvana with Chad Kroger.
And we're in a late night right here on KWRC. I don't know what that is. I think KWRC might actually be a radio channel.
KWRC. That's under the morning show.
So basically fucking Donald Trump thinks that the investigation that's looking into the collusion between him and Russia should be stopped immediately.
Weird.
Weird that. Also, the same week that Rudolph Giuliani
Hess.
stated, Rudolph Hess Giuliani stated, fucking hell, strike libel, Nazis, stated that collusion's not a crime. So their position has moved forward somewhat from there was no collusion to it. Collusion's not a crime anyway.
So as I spoke to Jerry, I think the reason that he's saying that is because you can't actually argue it. I'm not 100% certain, but I think collusion isn't the crime that you've committed. So like,
Seems like a weird thing to bring up though.
I know, but collusion.
No, that's not the crime I committed. It was treason. Treason, me.
That's exactly what we'll call her soon. Just after we're ruled by
The robots.
Grandmaster Bojo and he's and the Moganator.
They'll just have a big... You know how those T-shirt guns you get? They'll just
Yeah.
be firing out tin cans.
Just to the poor, just for after. That's what they're going to do for Brexit. Outside Parliament every day, they'll open up the gates for 2 hours.
It works two ways because
Let them eat beans.
it takes a member... it takes out a member of the population with every fucking direct hit, and then they can eat the proceeds.
Can we do it? I say can we? It's going to be me that fucking designs it anyway, so I'm going to. I want to do a t-shirt that says let them eat beans.
Good, I like that.
Just have like a tin of beans open.
Oh yeah, you should totally do that. Actually, and you know, a bath of like just a pot of beans, a bath of beans. Beans, have that the inside of the pig,
Oh, I could do that.
and then just above it and below it.
Let
say-
them eat beans.
Yeah, that works.
You
Anyway,
heard it here first, guys. If you want to get one of them, just drop us over an order and we'll get one to you. Thank you.
so the last thing was just a brief touch on the fact that hero of the British public, Stephen Yaxley Lennon, has finally been released from his prison cell.
Thank fuck, Jerry. He was only incarcerated for breaking the law that he openly admitted to. How dare they put him in jail? Free speech.
Free speech.
That's free speech.
Hashtag free speech. Luckily, I think he converted to Islam when he was in jail. So
I hope that's true. That'd be amazing, wouldn't it?
I mean, I say converted to Islam. He was raped
He was-
hideously.
He was converted. He was converted by Islam.
Nah, I mean, yeah. So he's free to walk the streets, and we were talking about Bannon and Mercer and the far right movement that they are now promoting within Europe. I think many other people are convinced that Stephen Yaxley Lennon will be the recipient of some hefty funds from Mercer and Steve Bannon in the near future. He appeared on British television during Trump's visit to say that Tommy Robinson, in his words, was the backbone of the British people.
I think he received a hefty something or other when he was in jail anyway. What I'd also like to point out at this point, and I bring this up quite a lot on social media, is see in any other environment, see if a guy associated with known paedophiles and kept on showing up at jail, kept on showing up at court and causing...
He has kept up showing up at jail throughout his life.
But kept on showing up in court and causing disruption to paedophile cases. One would suggest that he might be a paedophile.
Liable, right?
As liable, but at the same time, like, I'm not saying that he is, but I'm just saying in any other environment, if somebody spent other time around paedophiles, because he did, and also showed up at court and disrupted, even after
he associated with paedophiles.
Yes, that's what I mean.
But he probably didn't know they were paedophiles at the time, would be his defence.
That would be his defence. I'm not saying that he is a paedophile. I'm just saying in a normal scenario.
His normal defence is a headbutt, I think.
I think his actual normal defence is just change his name and then pretend that he's not the person that he was before, since he has about 13 names. The horrible asshole bastard. If he listens, or one of his friends listen, tell him.
He has quite a long list of convictions, but maybe we should read.
Oh, we
them
should.
out.
We don't have to do it today. We'll put them on Facebook, and then people can tag him in it. That would be ideal.
Just in case anybody's not aware, keep talking. I'll find them.
So I was going to say is see if people do know him, or see if he does listen. We'll happily interview you as well. Happily. Like, without any problem at all. Because we'd like to get your side of your argument on. But like I said, if any other person had been associated
I'm
with
not sure I want to give a platform to him, to be honest. Like,
I think it would have a negative effect for him.
Okay.
I think.
I mean, I'm prepared to give him some shit. Like, but
no, it's not even just giving him some shit. I reckon we could feed him so much rope that he'd hang himself.
You mean like Sadiq Khan in that amazing portrait?
Yeah. No, I actually mean like a nurse fucking gone round this. Give him the old lynching. I'm only kidding. That's not an actual thing. Yeah.
So
he's got a fair old rap sheet.
He does, and here's Tommy's.
Does he still run about with that horror bird?
Oh, what's her name again?
In jail.
I think she is in jail.
Prisoner
maybe as well.
self-luggage.
So this is his list of convictions. So
Number 1.
2005, 12 months for assault. 2010, arrested for a public order offence. 2011, convicted for football hooliganism. 2011, jailed for breaching bail conditions. 2011, convicted for assault. 2011, jailed for a rooftop protest in Switzerland. 2013, jailed for travelling under a false passport. 2014, jailed for mortgage fraud. 2014, convicted for public order offences. 2015, recalled to prison. 2017, convicted for contempt of court.
Can I just be clear? He was protesting rooftops, and he was also arrested for reorganising fences.
Fuck off.
Because I didn't realise that a lot of what he was fighting for was decent building regulations. I'm not as against him as I thought.
Being jailed for a rooftop protest in Switzerland, I don't know what it was in relation to.
I'd take a stab in the dark and say Muslims.
I was going to say. That was. I remember there being a bit of controversy in Switzerland about towers with like minarets and stuff, with mosques and calls to prayer and whatever. So
I can only take a stab in the dark and say it's some combination of Muslims and or paedophiles, because that's his bit.
I don't even think paedophiles is his bit.
No,
he
he
was
just
only
uses that.
interested
It's
because
only
they were
Muslim paedophiles.
Because they were Muslim.
I know, I get that. What he does is he plays on people's fears, and then he uses it as a platform to spread hate and fucking distrust amongst people, because he's a horrible bastard who manipulates folk. And if he wasn't, he'd use his fucking real name. And the reason he didn't is because he changed it. It's because it seemed more English and laddie and lads. That's exactly who he is. You ever seen that video that the 3 Muslim guys are walking towards him down the street and he walks backwards and falls over a curb? It's priceless. Priceless.
Okay. It was a rooftop protest at FIFA's Zurich headquarters. Try to find out what for.
Something about who's it he supports? Is it like a Millwall fan or something?
Oh, probably.
He strikes me as a Millwall fan. Sorry to any Millwall fans that are listening, but you know what I mean.
I don't actually know who he supports. I know, I've seen him in a Scottish football team's top before.
Can I guess who?
Mr. Robinson has also said he spent 3 days in a grimy prison in Switzerland before being fined for a rooftop protest at FIFA's Zurich headquarters, in which he and a fellow EDL member demanded England footballers be allowed to wear poppies on their shirts.
What a fucking bell end. I mean, I'm sorry, like if people want to wear poppies and stuff like that, it's fine, but there's place and a time for it. If people want to wear a poppy in the shirt, it's fine. But then,
it's against FIFA rules essentially to make any sort of political statement on a football shirt. And although I think the English FA teams wear poppies on their shirts, I think the Scottish teams do it most years as well, as far as I'm aware. But FIFA don't have to recognise that, and it may be seen to have political connotations, and they can do what they want.
Well, I mean,
at the end of the day,
aye, it's like this is the mad misunderstanding that people get about the way that companies work.
Well,
like,
I think the poppy has been massively politicised, like in the last 10 years, certainly. Anyway, like it becomes a sort of ridiculous fucking national fervour.
I would reckon, see if you look about your Facebook friends and your Facebook friends, and you look through any photos, see if you see the soldier silhouette, you see in some combination.
Lest we forget,
with either some combination of the Union Jack or a poppy, you'll probably find, if you look through their posts, that they have right-wing views. And certainly 8 out of 10 maybe of the people that
cats.
You see. 8 out of 10 cats. I know 8 out of 10 racists. No, but maybe like 2 out of 10 of them will be genuinely like from the armed forces or have family in the armed forces or whatever, and they feel the need to do that. But you will find that probably about 8 out of 10 of them are like just doing that because it shows that they're nationalists and they're real British, and they stand for what's real and British and what's important. I mean, they don't give a shit about the people who are in Britain who are fucking poor on the streets. We shouldn't give houses to homeless people. We should give them to ex-soldiers. What the fuck you been smoking? We should stop.
Give houses to everybody, man.
What we could do is stop keeping houses empty in the city of London to fucking because they're not paying any rent, and fucking put people in there.
In a country as rich as the UK, everybody should have a house.
I think there's some statistic where there's more houses lying empty in London than there is like homeless people or some shit.
Quite possibly.
But they can't get the rent for them, and the landlords are all like MPs and shit, and they don't want to have fucking poor people living in their houses. So and then they keep them empty because there's property value, and they don't want to drive down the property value by putting poor people in them.
Why did Maggie Thatcher?
Is this a joke?
No.
Oh, damn it.
Unfortunately not. Why did Maggie Thatcher basically bring in the right to buy and try and move the working class people out of council houses long term? Because working class people who have to pay a mortgage can't afford to strike and be out of work. People who were in rented homes from the government could strike indefinitely, essentially, and they wouldn't be kicked out of their house. But people who own their house can't afford to do that.
It's like
It was purely an ideological move. Like,
it's like the stupid arguments you'll get regarding things like the trade unions. Like Margaret said, the trade unions were crippling the country. No, the Tories were crippling the people, and the trade unions were fighting back. That's what happened. The reason that the steel mills, the reason that the coal mines, the reason all that was closed down is because these people had power. They had power in places that wasn't Westminster. Like the fact that in the event Westminster decided they were going to raise tax by 2%, that in Manchester, in Liverpool, in Scotland, in the West Country, they were able to walk out of the mines, walk out of the shipyards, walk out of the steel mills, and then the country would grind to a halt, and then they would have to look at their policies and pass them and make them fair for the people.
And then Thatcher sent the fucking cops in to bash people's heads in with batons.
And then they shut down and sold all of that off, because if they shut down and sold it off, there wouldn't be these centres of power, and if there wasn't these centres of power, the only place that would be able to make decisions and control decisions in Westminster, and you people... Probably not many people who actually listen to this in the grand scheme of things, but the people in the UK were made to believe that what she was doing was protecting the country, and all you done was took the power away from the people and gave it just to Westminster, and that's why we are where we are right now.
You're constantly told by people who you get in this argument with that the trade unions crippled this country and they were terrible for this country and they're terrible for industry. And, you know, there's maybe an element of truth to the fact that it made us less competitive, but look at the best trade unions in Europe are in the countries with the best quality of life.
I mean, like look at things like, so trade unions.
Norway.
Trade unions were crippling us and pushing us down, but it doesn't change the fact that the end of the 80s, so after the strikes and stuff like that, you still had the scenario where the only place BMW wanted to buy steel off in the whole world was the Ravenscraig. They sent a letter saying the best steel in the world that they could purchase and the only steel they would put in their cars was from the Ravenscraig. That's because we produced the best steel. The trade unions didn't stop that from happening.
And at the time Thatcher's government closed it down, sold it off to the Chinese, it was running a healthy profit.
Yeah, because it wasn't shutting down for no profit. It was shutting down to kill the trade union because we had control of the best steel in the whole. We could determine whether or not things were happening in Westminster, and that get taken away from us. The closest that Wales and Northern Ireland and Scotland have got to that since then is being able to have devolved powers, and we're now getting names stripped off us again by a Tory government because again we're in a scenario where we can make our voices be heard, and they're taking that off us, and you get people who are in the UK who are poor, who have nothing, who have no reason to be fucking supporting what is essentially upper middle to upper class fucking society, and they're being told by them that they should hate on the people around them, hate on their brothers and sisters, hate on the other people who are working in the business with them every day, because they're the ones that, I mean, you're fighting against people who are as poor off as you, so you can believe that you're slightly better off than them, whereas instead you've just been fucking taken advantage of. Fuck me, I got a bit ranty this time.
Yeah, but like I'm earning 10, 15, 20 grand a year more than them, so I'm better than them, and I'm in some way measurably different to them. That's the mentality of a lot of people in this country.
But the problem is every single one of them that are telling you that are earning 80, 90, 100 grand more than you, and they don't give a fuck about you. They don't give a fuck about you. They just don't want you to give a fuck about them.
The political elite certainly fucking don't.
And that's what they do. I mean, like, you get people fucking complaining. You get people complaining about how we shouldn't nationalise our railways because that's a fucking lefty socialist policy. Instead, what we should do is privatise our railways and then sell them off to countries that have got nationalised railways for their national railways to own our railways.
And subsidise their rail fares with the profits from our railways.
And you get like psychotic people that will have an argument with you just like, that makes more sense. You're broken. Fuck me, man. You are broken.
That makes sense. I think that the railways is one of those issues where, in fact, public opinion is largely in favour of renationalisation.
I just mean that you get into the arguments of
no.
Like that. Do you know what I mean?
But you're probably gonna have a situation in the near future where that becomes a Tory policy in their manifesto, and that's one of the good things about Corbyn being the leader of the Labour Party. We've talked a few times, I think maybe not on the podcast, but in our live shows and stuff, about the Overton window getting dragged so far to the right by UKIP, by representation of like UKIP on fucking mainstream political TV programmes like Question Time, like from 2010 on to I think the study was like 2016 or 2017, 24% of Question Time shows in that period had a UKIP representative on them, nearly a quarter, and they had 2 MPs in that whole period.
But Jerry, people were more interested in UKIP.
Yeah, but there was a paper from Murphy and Devine that says it was actually the TV shows and the appearances that drove the popularity of the party and not the other way around. Also, the Green Party had 1 MP consistently throughout the entire period, whereas UKIP had 1 MP for 2.5 years, 1 for 6 months. There was a slight overlap between the two of them. They get 24%, the Green Party got 7% representation. The SNP had 97 MPs across the whole period. For 2 of the years, they were the second biggest party in the UK, and they only appeared on 18% of the shows. So the Overton window was dragged so far right that a Brexit vote and a referendum became a good idea. That immigration anti-immigration sentiment in the UK became so strong that Labour have put it in their manifesto when they're supposed to be the party of the left, even under Corbyn. And the good thing about having Corbyn as the leader, though, is that he may pull sentiment further left. He may pull the Overton window back over to the left a bit, because his policies had quite a large element of popularity in the last election. It kind of forces the hand of the parties on the other side to take some of it on board.
Indeed.
And I think that's pretty much us.
Oh, it really, really needs to be. I need to go to bed.
Yeah,
I need to go to bed.
Me too.
It's so bad. I'm going to be working so late tomorrow.
So, thanks for listening, everybody. We had a really brilliant time at the Glasgow Skeptics show, so thanks very much for having us.
We also had a really good time recording this episode. I don't know if you can tell, but, but there was points that you'll never hear, but we were in fucking stitches.
There's a lot of laughter.
Like there was a lot of things that can never get put in a podcast. But I'm actually in pain. I've pulled a muscle up into my stomach from laughing. It was hilarious. But anyway, thanks a lot for listening. It means a lot to us. And we shall hopefully see you soon. We've got loads of stuff coming up. A whole fuckload of content coming up.
Yeah, big style.
So we've got some sweet interviews coming with some cool folk. We've got we've got a good show coming up. We've got a couple of things happening and maybe some other media, and we've got a live show and stuff like that. So yeah, we've got a lot of stuff happening. So just keep an eye on our Facebook and Twitter, and we'll keep you up to date.
Byline Festival, if you're down that way, get tickets, man. Come see us.
Yeah, and we'll just keep you up to date with what's happening with everything. As and when we can tell you about things, we'll certainly do that.
Leave us a review on iTunes, please.
And drop us a couple of pennies on Patreon. That'd be quality.
Yeah, and we have really, really, really cool key rings to sell.
It makes me feel a bit special.
Custom leather made by speedpumpmotorcycles.co.uk, and they look awesome. If you just drop us a message, we'll put some pictures up on social media to remind everybody what it looked like.
Yep, quality. So yeah, I think that's us done. Yeah. So that's goodbye from me. And goodbye from me.
Peace out.